such a
I sit
bad
on her for a while,
politician.
man. We're gonna try
Obama
to keep up
would
with the
never have done that
try to
to
keep up with the
say, "Oh, you're at
results.
the wrong rally." I mean, most people would assume that they're
As
at the
y'all can
wrong rally,
see,
but for her actually to say that
I got my
is
little board over here.
astonishing.
It's
And
keeping
it's
tally
nice to
with
have things
the
clarified for us. Listen, the policies
what
of
states
Biden
is
and Kamala
winning
Harris
for Trump
could
or
not be
Harris.
more wicked. Most
All of this
Americans,
stuff on the
even
side of the
earlier in
screen.
the
This is
segment,
live. This is accurate.
the reporter talked about the loan forgiveness. What a joke.
So
That's
yeah,
taking
we're
money
gonna stay
out of the
locked in for a
hands
little
of
bit.
working class Americans to pay for the loans of college
So y'all let me
students.
know what you think,
It's
man.
preposterous. It's a bribe, basically, is what it
Leave
is.
your
And what it
leave your
really
thoughts in the comment
underscores is
section.
that Kamala Harris and the
And
left
let me
at
know
this
if you
point
think
will
Trump
do and say
or Harris.
literally
As
anything
well as your
to get
comments should
elected. And if you talk
appear
about
on my
values,
screen
the
also.
values of evangelicals or Christians across
I
America,
got
the
a new little
values of any
tool I'm
American,
trying out
that
right here.
lying,
So
stealing,
like I
these
say, I
things are
think all of
not
this stuff should
okay.
appear. It
And what we've seen from
should
the
show what's
left,
going
it's
on.
not the party of Tip
The
O'Neill, it's
comments
not the
on the
party
left
of
side of your
Mike
screen,
Dukakis or Bill Clinton. They have
and it
gone
should keep up with
dramatically toward the
who's
Marxist
winning what state
side of
on your
things.
right
And they
side.
are saying things
It is
that I think
live. This
most
stuff is
Americans
accurate.
know. They'll just say anything, they'll do anything to get elected. So my concern actually
And I got a
is,
little
will they
ticker
try
on
to
the top.
steal the
It's
election?
just some
If
little
Donald
breaking
Trump wins,
news.
will they do what they did 4 years ago and do
So like I
anything
say,
to
I got a
steal
little
the election? So I
module I'm
actually
trying
think
out
this
here.
story is not going to be
Something
over. I think for
different.
a few weeks, we're going to see the Dems
Let
do
me know what
anything
y'all
they
think, man.
can.
Put it in the comments. You
They've
can put
hired some
hashtag
people,
Trump.
Mark Elias and others,
You think
to
Trump will win,
litigate.
or if you
So
voted for
they're
Trump,
not exactly
tell me who you
interested
voted
in
for.
a
If you
fair
think
fight.
Harris gonna
There
win,
are a
put
lot of
hashtag
lawyers just
Harris.
waiting for challenges to
Say
come
all
up,
your
and we'll be
comments will
watching.
appear on
That's
the
something
side
else
of
we'll
the
be watching very
screen.
closely to see tonight. Eric Metaxas, always great to see you. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
All right, we're not just following the presidential
Still
race, of
live,
course. We're also keeping track
and
of
it's
what's
still
happening with
accurate.
the majorities in the House and the Senate. The balance of power is going to be a key part of this entire next government that takes shape. We'll have more on those races right after this.
What's up, Sonny? What's going on, Sonny? Sonny's here, y'all. Sonny's here. Put hashtag Trump, hashtag
Abraham
Harris in
Lincoln
the
began the
comments. Let
war
me know
between the
what y'all
states
think.
with a single stated
Or who would you
purpose:
vote for?
to preserve the Union.
I don't
So
think
it
I need to
surprised
tell y'all who I
everyone when
voted
in
for.
July of 1862, President Lincoln announced his
Hashtag Trump
intentions
over
to
here.
issue an Emancipation Proclamation
Like
to
I said,
free the
everything
Southern
should be accurate
slaves.
on the screen.
Lincoln was urged to delay his proclamation until the Union.
Everything should be accurate on the screen. You got your states. It's telling me who's winning. It's even showing me how many people is watching. I got 1 on Rumble, 13 on Twitter. I'm not on. I don't know what that little star is. Oh, that's me, but that's not. I don't know why they would have that. I'm not on Twitch. I am on Facebook. You know, Facebook jump around a lot, so that's gonna go up and down 1-0-1-0. You know how those people on Facebook is. They don't like me over there. YouTube, I'm just over there. I don't usually get anybody popping up on my lives. I have to post a video. I get more interactions on uploads. But man, yeah, let me know what y'all think, man. What's going on? Did y'all go vote? What happened? What was it like at the polls? What did you see? Y'all think it's gonna be a big turnout for Trump? Big turnout for Harris? Or what do you hope is gonna happen? Who do you want to win? Hold on. Let's see. So I'm disappointed. And you disappointed in North Carolina? What happened in North Carolina? Oh, he won North Carolina. He got 16 electoral votes over there. I mean, she did. She got 16. Hold on. What is live election map provided by Axios? All rights to the content remain with Axios. Visit Axios. What is these? Hold on. I gotta go somewhere. Maybe I can pull this up. Live election map. Hold on, this new, y'all. I don't think I need this ticker, to be honest with you. I'm gonna take it out for now. No, it look crazy now. I'm gonna put the ticker back up there. What you say? Need Trump to win this thing, boy. That's right. You already know what time it is. Put it in the chat. Put hashtag Trump in the chat, man. Let these folks know. You gotta quit playing with these folks. That's right, Sassy. You gotta quit playing with these folks. Shoot. Better let them know. But what is going on with this? Yeah, I'm gonna take that view account off. Y'all don't need to see that. It ain't no point for y'all to see that. But my election map, I'm trying to. Oh, that says how many electoral votes you can win from the state. Okay, it's 16. I don't know if it's locked in though in North Carolina. Is it closed? It ain't closed in North Carolina, is it?
About 2020 that we believe
Is it closed in North Carolina?
Final as the
Sonny?
network Newsmax. So as we watch the results
James
coming in,
O'Keefe is
obviously
live right
polls are
now.
just starting to close.
I'm
Some
in
of
New
them on the
Jersey,
East
and there's
Coast,
a
but
4-hour line.
we'll
Lord
continue
have
monitoring
mercy.
everything and watching it very closely as we move forward with our reporters across.
You
the
don't do
entire
early
nation
voting?
who are at many of the biggest cities and biggest poll sites.
I guess you don't believe in early
Yeah,
voting,
no, a
huh?
lot
You
of
think
interest
it's
in what's taking
like
place.
Greg.
Obviously,
Greg
tonight. Let's
said
get
he
to our
ain't
next
voting
guest
on no
now.
early.
CPAC Chairman Matt
This vote got to
Schlapp.
be
Matt,
counted.
great to see you.
No, it's not locked in. Yeah,
See you, and I'm here with a great guy.
yeah, you're right. It's not locked in. I'm understanding that now.
I just thought I'd sit in.
Why not? I want to talk about
Tell me
Pennsylvania.
if
Polls are closing in about 10
the
minutes.
video is too loud or it's
State,
too
you know
low,
very
because I'm
well,
trying
is
to
a
kind of
former
have it
senator.
where
We
I can
had
kind of
Mike
hear the
Carter in
video, but
Pittsburgh,
not too
one of the
loud,
cities
and
we'll be looking at. Also,
y'all can hear
Allentown
me
with a
at the
huge
same
Latino
time. I don't want to
population. Tell us some of the
be
things that
fighting
you'll
the
be looking
sound
at
over
as the
here.
polls close. We start to see sort of some of the early precincts reporting.
Yeah, I mean,
Harris
obviously
got 3. I
turnout. I
guess
think
that's Vermont. She won Vermont.
And
Oh, it's
Philadelphia
dark
is
blue.
really the
Okay, if
key
it's
to the
dark blue,
Democrats. I mean, if you think
I'm
about
guessing
this,
she
that,
locked that in. If it's
the
light blue,
Democrats,
that means
the
she's
city of
leading.
Philadelphia is 12%
Dark
of the
red,
population of the state,
I mean, he
and
locked
it's
it in.
5-1
If it's
Democrat.
light red,
And so
that means he's
it,
leading.
it, it, it
So
makes
he
up
done locked
obviously
in
a lot more than
Indiana,
12% of the Democratic
Kentucky,
vote of the state.
West Virginia.
And if their number
So
is
that's where you get
down,
to 23.
that is a huge
Right.
problem. And what we saw in the early voting
All
is
right, cool.
that
Appreciate it.
their
Appreciate
number
it,
was down
Sonny.
and was down dramatically. And so the
Sassy,
question
appreciate
is,
y'all.
did they make it up on election day? And we don't know that, unlike Georgia and some of the other states that can track the day of voting and let you know what the
I don't think
turnout is.
all of these gonna
Pennsylvania
come
does
in
not
today.
do
You know,
that. So
some
we
of them
don't know
closer states, they're
what's
gonna
going
take a
on there
while.
until stay tuned.
Maybe
Until
a
the numbers come in,
couple
we'll be able to
of
tell you.
days.
But what we do know,
Especially if it's real
is
close.
that rural areas have turned out
I already
very,
know if
very
some of them
heavily.
take too long, we
I
gonna
heard
get
that all across the
suspicious.
state that in the red counties,
They're gonna be
Trump
playing
vote
with
is
the
up,
votes.
and a lot of energy and enthusiasm. So even if Philadelphia does turn out with its normal vote,
People gonna be turning stuff
the rural
in
areas
late.
can swamp it if they turn
Somebody
out
was
with
already burning
All right,
some of the
Matt,
ballot boxes.
Republicans have a slim majority in the House. Looks like they're going to take control of the Senate. But what do you think about the coattails of Donald Trump tonight? If he does win, what is the House going to look like?
Yeah, basically already operational control of the Senate is already tied.
Yeah, hold on real quick.
Chuck Schumer is going to have a lot more
I'll be
time
right
to make
back.
those tofu
I'm gonna leave it on.
patties
I'm
on
finna
that
walk
fake
off
grill
for a
that is on his patio. But here's the truth: is people said Donald Trump would be a drag on the ticket, that we had to get somebody new, and a lot of congressional people, even friends of mine, said we got to separate ourselves from Trump. That was a disaster. Tonight, I think the House will pick up seats if Donald Trump wins states. It really is dependent on Donald Trump's coattails. It's kind of like how politics used to be in this country. It's that way again. If Donald Trump wins these battleground states, we will pick up House seats. If he wins the presidency, there will be enough House Republicans to give Mike Johnson, who's been the hardest working man in politics, a little more of a cushion, and we won't
Indeed
be
he
talking
has.
about impeachment for 2 more years.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be watching very closely New York. There's some key House races, California as well, and then Virginia. There's a couple. We'll get the results on those. Just part of the program here tonight. Our thanks to Rick Santorum and Matt Schlapp. Great to see you both.
Thanks, guys. Our coverage of the path to 270 electoral votes continues. We're going to take a very quick break. We're back with more right here on N2.
It's a fact. 80% of your immune system is controlled by gut bacteria, and many people suffer from digestion woes. Dr. David Brownstein created Bactipro to help. This premium formula supports optimal immune health and contains 6 powerful probiotics. So try Bactipro to see if it helps you with our risk-free offer. Get 30 days of Bactipro at no cost to you. Go online now or call us toll-free today.
January 15th, 1929 was a chilly day in Atlanta, Georgia, when a family gathered to welcome into this world a new life, and with it, a new hope for America. Throughout his 39 years, he instilled in Americans a new spirit of justice and freedom, based on equality instead of status, and character instead of race. He waged a nonviolent war on racial segregation, with appearances that radiated with an energy that transcended
I like this little module
all
up here.
races, all faiths, and
Hey, is it
people of all
laggy?
ages,
Because it's kind of laggy
with
on my
words that
screen.
still resonate today.
I know y'all can probably hear me good, but like, you know how my other videos be? We locked in. Feel like it's kind of a lag over
He
here.
spoke to us of his dreams and his beliefs that justice too long delayed is justice denied.
I ask you to join with me in prayer.
I ask you to join with me in prayer.
Pride of our nation.
Today will live
This day
in
have set upon
infamy.
a mighty endeavor.
I know y'all heard that before.
A struggle to
Today will
preserve
live
our republic,
in infamy.
our religion, and our civilization, and to set free a suffering
People used to talk
humanity.
funny back then.
Lead them straight and true.
And cruel.
Give strength to their arms.
Give strength
stoutness
to their arms.
hearts,
Our hearts.
steadfastness in their faith.
Mm-hmm.
They will need thy blessings. Their road will be long and hard. For the enemy is strong. He may have forces. Success may not come with rushing speed. But we shall return again and again. And we know that by thy grace and by the righteousness of our cause, our sons will triumph.
That's
and
right.
peace that will let all men live in freedom,
Amen.
reaping the just rewards of their honest toil. Thy will be done, Almighty God. Amen.
There you go, preacher.
Stressed
When I
and
can't say
fatigued?
nothing, I just raise my
Brain
hand.
feeling
Lord
foggy?
have mercy.
Don't have the energy you used to? It may be your liver. You must protect your body's most precious asset. Best-selling author and surgeon Dr. Russell Blaylock has developed natural solutions.
No,
His
he
breakthrough
didn't.
new book, The Liver Cure, will
Black
help you
people been
boost
doing that.
energy,
Don't believe that.
detoxify your body, clear brain fog, and reignite your metabolism. Improve your health and quality of life.
My dad was
Get
telling me the
Liver
other day
Cure
about my
today.
brother when he was little. He had whooping cough. They couldn't figure out how to get rid of it. Doctor didn't know. Kept giving him shots. My great grandma told him go kill a bullfrog and hang it over his bed. I'd be damned if it didn't
welcome
work.
back
My
to our
brother
special
didn't have
coverage
whooping
of
cough
Election
after
Night
that. After the
2024.
frog
Believe
was
it's
in the
actually-
bag and
I
died.
can,
Right.
and I'm quite happy,
Yes,
actually.
it's been a while. All right.
No more
We're
whooping
going
cough.
to get to TW and
Hello.
TW Shannon in just
So
a
they
second.
don't believe
but I
all
wanted to
that.
take a close look here at my screen. On the computer and what's
You
going
gonna
on in
tell on
Georgia.
me?
We have some
You gonna
election
tell on me,
results coming
Sonny?
in from the state of Georgia. Nothing final yet, but over 1 million votes
Hallelujah.
have been counted so
Hallelujah.
far. And you can see here on the screen,
Praise Jesus.
Pretty typical breakdown of what you'd expect from Georgia. Now, we have Fulton County results coming in, but less than 1% of the vote thus far. Kamala Harris
I'm gonna
is
blow the
doing very
video
well
up a
there
little
with
bit just for a
82%.
minute,
Now,
so we
Donald
get some
Trump
more
as
of these
a
votes
whole is
coming
doing
in.
very well in the state of Georgia with 62% of the vote. Now, we do expect that to change and get a little closer when we start counting more votes from Fulton County. We also don't have results yet from Clayton County or Cobb County. These are two of the bellwether counties in Georgia that are going to let us know
lot of red in Georgia
how
so
that
far.
all shakes out. But things looking
you know,
pretty
you
good
get to
right
them
now
big
for Donald
cities,
Trump
it's
with
gonna go blue like a
62%.
mug.
19%
I can't
of
vote
the
for no
vote
Trump. He
has been
said
counted.
Let's
He
bring
said
in
some
former,
bad stuff.
Speaker of the Oklahoma
He
House
was
of
talking
Representatives,
crazy.
T.W. Shannon, and why this is encouraging.
No, I don't care about
is
no
because if
policy.
Donald Trump can get all the
He was
states
saying-
had in
he was being
2020,
nasty
plus
to
Georgia,
people.
Plus Pennsylvania, he gets
So,
to the electoral
that's what I'm
college
voting for, 'cause he
270
crazy.
TW.
But what about
That's
your life?
exactly
What
right.
about
Hey,
your
I'm
quality
here
of life?
in
No,
Florida.
I don't care
gotta
about
tell
that.
you,
He said
John,
bad
the
things.
enthusiasm is through the roof. Listen, people have lined up for Donald Trump for the last 4 years because they've seen the misery caused by Kamala Harris. But going back to those Georgia numbers, they're real
right.
interesting because Kamala Harris is behind 9 points where Joe Biden was with the black vote. There's been a lot of effort placed on the black vote. They pulled out every
I told
black
y'all.
celebrity in the country, and she's still behind 9 points with black voters.
Cuz,
in
nobody
Georgia.
cares about a
That
fucking
is fatal
concert,
for her
bro.
right now. And so, obviously, there's
She
still
was
a lot
giving
of
out
vote to come in,
concerts.
a lot to go.
Black
but
people
it's not
should have
looking
been
like a good night
insulted
for
by
Kamala
that.
Harris in Georgia, based on that early
A
exit
freaking
polling right
concert,
now,
bro.
because of her underperformance. with
Instead
the
of
black
telling
vote.
you
Donald
something
Trump has
positive
broken the
about what she
wall
could
with
possibly
the black
do for
vote.
you,
He
she
has
gave you a
transformed the
concert.
Republican Party
She
into
gave
the
you
party of the
Glorilla.
working class man and woman for everybody, not
what's
just
her
black
name?
Americans, but all
Megan Thee
Americans.
Stallion.
All right, T.W. Shannon, also Newsmax
Cardi
contributor,
B,
one of our good friends.
can't even
Seen
freaking
frequently
read.
on our program.
She
We
can't
do.
just
We're
say something
checking in with
good
you in
off the top of
Florida,
her
and
head. She
obviously,
got to read it
Oprah was
off
part
of
of
a
the closing
phone. When the
arguments,
teleprompter
really
went down,
not
she was
in
looking
touch
crazy.
with a lot of the hardworking folks in
Then
America.
you got
We heard
Eminem,
from David Harris Jr. too, talking about
who was
this,
always railing
the
against the system.
lecturing
Now
at the
he
last
telling you
minute
to
for these
vote for
votes.
somebody.
Not necessarily going to
Get
work.
the
All right,
fuck
we're
out.
going to be back. We got plenty of coverage for you. We're going to be here for a little while, maybe until 2 a.m. We'll be with you all night. Stay tuned.
Hold on real quick.
The ethical and moral principles of the Judeo-Christian faith and the God of that tradition are found throughout the Declaration of Independence. Most presidents of the United States have declared their faith in God and have encouraged us to read the Bible.
They're going to preach to us
I'm
tonight.
encouraged to believe that Americans at this hour are striving to retain their spiritual identity
What?
despite the inroads of materialism and the rising tide of permissivism.
Come on, Billy.
On the front page of a Chicago newspaper some time ago, there appeared a picture of Betsy Ross
You lying.
showing the first American flag. And over the picture was the caption, "Time to check our stitches."
Woo!
Let's check the stitches of racism that still persist in America. Let's check the stitches of poverty that bind some of our countrymen. Let's check the stitches of foreign policy to be sure that our objectives and goals are in keeping with the American dream.
Billy.
I call upon the scientific community in our country, those who gave us nuclear weapons, to turn their great talents now to the cause of mankind and world peace.
On March 23, 1983, President Reagan surprised not only the nation,
That's that guy, he
but
always
members of his
narrate them
own cabinet
documentaries and stuff
military
on them,
by announcing an
killer
Oval
shows
Office
where people get
address
killed.
that the United States would embark on creating an
What's the name of
anti-missile
it?
system to stop and destroy
What is the name
nuclear-tipped
of that
missiles in space. Reagan called the program the Strategic Defense Initiative, or SDI, while his critics
Tell me what
quickly
y'all
dubbed the
think, man. Who
program
y'all got?
Star
Trump?
Wars. Still,
Average?
the
Most
idea
people on
gained
here, y'all pretty
popular
sure y'all got
support
Trump.
and played a key role in undermining the Soviet Union and its arms buildup. By 1987, with his own nation facing economic collapse and unable to match the U.S. program,
Slight lag.
Soviet leader
Okay.
Mikhail Gorbachev capitulated
I
and
figured it
signed
was.
the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty. Within 4 years, the Soviet Empire itself would collapse.
I think it's because that little
ending a
module.
Cold War that lasted more than 4
It's
decades.
okay, though.
You're watching An American Moment on Newsmax TV.
Federal agencies urge every family to have an emergency radio. During any disaster, electrical power may get cut. The emergency radio gives you
Wonder
the
why they
vital
got this commercial
information
on
you
there.
need. Newsmax wants you to have the Dynamo Emergency Band Radio. It doesn't need batteries and works in any emergencies. It retails for
I gotta
$30.
start buying some stuff
You can
like
get
that,
it with
man.
the free offer. Call or
But
go
don't be telling
online
folks
and
that
get the
they're gonna think you
emergency
crazy.
radio today.
Oh man,
Your
you
life
man,
may
ain't nothing
depend
gonna
on it.
happen. Be the first one scrambling.
If you've been injured in an
Scrambling for
accident, it's
TP.
not your fault, and you don't
You
have
don't
an
get the
attorney,
fuck up out
listen
of here
up.
with that
We
stupid
have
shit.
legal professionals standing by to answer your questions and tell you what your case is potentially worth. Pick up the phone, call now.
Polls closing at 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Polls are
closed in
closing at
17
8 p.m.
states,
You can see the
including
states there right now
Pennsylvania.
where polls have just closed. As of 1 minute ago, we are
Is it
getting
8
some
o'clock
results.
already?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
It's going to be a long night, but a fun one. We're calling some races here already. Indiana for Donald Trump, Kentucky for
Let's
Donald
go.
Trump, South
Let's
Carolina,
go.
and West Virginia going to Donald Trump.
Let's
Kamala
go.
Harris, we are calling the state of Vermont.
Yes, we're talking about these polls that were closing, of course.
Yeah,
one of the
look like-
states that everyone is
okay,
hyper-interested
I got some
in
results.
is Pennsylvania. Now,
We
there has
got
been an issue
Indiana.
there in
He got
Elizabeth
95
County.
electoral
The voting
votes.
hours have been extended
Trump
to
took
9:30
Indiana.
Eastern time. Also,
Trump took
Cambria
Kentucky.
County's voting hours
Trump took
were
West
extended
Virginia.
to
Trump
10
took
p.m. due to
Tennessee.
some voting
Trump took
incidents there,
Mississippi.
but
Trump
those voters
took
will still be allowed
Alabama.
to
Trump
wrap
took
up those
Florida.
votes, and we'll bring you
And
the
Trump
updates on
took
Pennsylvania.
South Carolina.
And the
He
other
is
states
leading
closing their polls
in
at 8
Georgia
o'clock
as of
as
right
soon as
now.
we have that information.
Kamala Harris is
We
leading
are
in
monitoring
Virginia,
some results here
North
for
Carolina,
you. Real quickly,
Ohio,
let's talk about
Pennsylvania,
I'm sorry,
New
what was that,
Jersey,
Brittany?
and New Hampshire.
Okay, we're going to go to Sarah Williamson, who's going to join us live from the Trump campaign party headquarters in West Palm Beach. Hey, Sarah.
Texas is showing blue.
Hey, John. Hey, Bianca.
sure is.
There is such enthusiasm here
It's showing
at the
blue
Trump
right now.
headquarters where they're going to be having that watch party tonight. There is
I'ma tell y'all right now, that ain't gonna
hundreds, but
stand.
if not thousands, because they're going to be filling it.
Trump
that
took
is still
Oklahoma as well.
flowing in as we speak.
I'ma tell you
People
that.
dressed
Don't worry about
tonight
that,
from all
Texas.
walks
Y'all don't
of
worry about
life.
that.
You can see these people
That ain't
here
going blue.
who are just flowing in and walking around, and they're so excited to be here. They've brought their signs.
Don't worry about
They're
that at all.
dressing up. I've spoken to a bunch of Trump supporters, and I have one
can bet your little
lovely
heinies
lady
on it.
here with me now. Her name is
me move this.
her name
I'ma
is
move it
Julie,
up.
and Julie has been very
Blow it up a
patient
little
to
bit.
speak with us today. Julie, tell us why you voted for Trump.
Come on, Julie.
Nothing to lose. He had nothing to gain by doing this. He was truly
Texas
in it
is
for the love
showing
of the
blue,
country,
y'all.
and his transparency.
Y'all better get out and vote.
And his honesty should speak volumes. You just.
Y'all better
Do you
get
think
out and
he's going
vote.
to win this election? Are you feeling confident?
I am. I am optimistic about this election. I feel it. I feel the energy at all
I know
the
Texas
rallies.
ain't going blue.
I feel
Anybody
it
that do
with,
that, they'll be a
amongst
fool.
friends
We on
that
the
have asked
border.
me questions
You asking for trouble.
that
You
I've
start that
given them
mess.
honest answers to, and I've changed them over. So.
And you're a very dedicated Trump supporter. You were telling me last night you stay up, you watch all the rallies. To just tell us why you are so enthusiastic
that's just for
about
right
him
now.
as a
Let me go to
candidate
something.
in
Let me see if I
comparison
can pull
to
up another
the
video.
average politician.
Like I said, he has nothing to personally gain by this. So that
'Cause our
should tell
polls
you
ain't
everything.
closed yet.
And he gives you hope. He gives you strength. When you watch him, everybody's joyful. I mean, I will go to a rally at 2 in the afternoon by myself even, and he doesn't come on until 10 o'clock at night, and it's just amazing. He shows strength, and I think the countries around the world see it.
Beautiful.
And I just want to thank him.
Yeah, that's very kind of you. You said she wanted to make sure that we saw her sign thanking the president.
I mean, even
From
if
our international media
Ted
here
Cruz
as
lose,
well.
this
Julie,
state
thank
gonna
you
stay
very much
red,
for
man.
that.
But I don't
A
think he
lot of
will,
people
though.
we've seen Cruz from Romania, from Israel, from Italy, from Bulgaria. everyone is here right now.
I don't think
just
I posed.
waiting
Let me see what time I
enthusiastically to be
posed
able to get a
closed.
glimpse of what is going on inside. We saw some special guests walking past as well, including our friend Will Scharf, the Trump lawyer who swung by before. I didn't get to speak to him because he was in a rush to get inside, but hopefully we'll get to pull aside some other Newsmax, friends of Newsmax later on as we continue to hang out here with Trump supporters. John, Bianca.
A lot of happy folks there in Palm Beach, Florida, where you are, Sarah Williamson. Appreciate that update. And
Polls in Texas
a lot
closed
of
at
good-
7. It just closed, but if you're in line, you can still vote. What happened to my video? I just seen it. I just heard it go. What's going on? Let me refresh. Am I still here? Did y'all lose me? Y'all lose me? Yeah. Ohio. Okay. You showing red? Okay. It's still blue on my screen. Maybe it ain't updated yet. I don't think my map is updated yet. Okay, cool.
of Congress and senators came. A historic election.
Oh, that's them. They having problems. That ain't me.
Polls are just
Okay.
about to close in 1 hour out in the state of Arizona, a battleground state that we are watching very closely. Pleased to have in
They say
Congressman
polls close in
Andy
Texas at
Biggs with
7.
us right now to talk
What
about
time will
what he is seeing
election
right now,
results come
and
in?
also Congressman results for your race against Katrina Shaffer.
Yeah, they
are
still be
expected
in
to cross the
line.
wires,
So that shit could
about
be over
10
with by like 10 o'clock.
Eastern here. So your final message to supporters, I guess, in the final hour of voting out there in Arizona, sir.
My final message is to get out and vote. If you're in line, stay in line. Vote Republican top to bottom. That's the final message because things are still a little bit
He ain't even
closer.
fucking sugarcoating it, is he?
Everyone, to vote.
Who is
and
that?
Stay in line to vote. And if that happens, we win because it's a turnout election in Arizona right now.
I just texted somebody who's at Mar-a-Lago right now, and I said, "What are the vibes like?"
Oh, okay.
He said the vibes
Okay.
are very good, very
I
positive.
thought he was a
right now.
pundit on
Congressman
TV.
Sessions
I'm
on
like,
the Senate
damn.
race there in Arizona. Kerry Lake is up against Ruben Gallego, a guy you know from serving with in the House. How's that going to shake out?
It's going to be really close.
I just want
and
to let
Kerry's
y'all
got
know
a really
also,
good chance to win. I'll tell you why.
your boy did
because the
pass
movement
his
from the early
CDL
ballots,
test today.
Class
Class
had
A.
a significant lead in early ballots, and
Hello.
they held that lead through the day and the
I can
dumps,
go
and
through it in
people
my
who
head
register
right
should
now.
come in and say
Nuts
you're
and bolts are
Republican
tight.
or Democrat, an independent. Those who come in and vote. So you
It is
know
not
where
cracked
they're
or
coming from.
leaking.
So we've held our own against
And
the
it is
Democrats
properly
there.
filled.
The question will be where are the independents breaking. And
Lenses and
according to,
reflectors are
sources that I've talked to,
secured
independents seem to be
properly.
breaking
Nuts
to the
and
right
bolts are
this
tight.
time.
They're
And if
all
that's the
there.
case,
They're the
Kerry
proper
Lake's got a
color. They're
good
clean and
chance
they're not
to
cracked.
eke out that victory over Ruben Gallego.
DOT tape.
You know, there's 11 electoral
It's properly
votes,
secured. It is
for the
there.
state
It
of
is not
Arizona.
cut.
Immigration outside of the
I can
economy
go
is
through the
one
whole
of the
truck,
topics
man.
that is so important for a lot of
Appreciate
Americans.
you,
even if
Sass. I
they're
know
not
you
in
got
a border
yours.
State, Congressman Biggs, a lot of Americans who are polled say they support deportations, which is something Donald Trump has been talking about at his rallies, and also the death penalty. If there's an illegal who kills an American,
Appreciate y'all.
there's some real change that he wants if he gets into the White House. Tell us your thoughts on how immigration is going to settle some of the voters' minds in your home state.
Well, border security is like
Big
the number
truck
one issue,
driver.
it's top issue here. And in Arizona, like everywhere else in the country, 75% or so of the people say that Donald Trump
What I
is going
tell
to do
you,
a better job on the border security.
Sonny, look at it.
Kamala Harris.
Texas
And that
just turned red,
includes
just
Democrats
like
as
that. I
So
told you.
When President Trump
We don't
talks
fuck
tough on the
around like
border,
that, bro.
And we know that in our state, I can
It's
just
still
give
light
you the
red.
concrete examples.
But it just went in his favor.
1 year, the Yuma sector saw fewer than
told
9,000
you.
encounters, and they
be
have seen
fucking
literally
around.
millions of encounters since Kamala Harris and Joe Biden
I
have
told
taken
you.
over the border. So we know what it's like.
I'm telling you,
when
bro.
actually enforce
I
the
told
law,
you.
and
I
we know
already
what it's like
told
when
you, man.
don't
It's
enforce
Texas.
the law. So that's a huge issue, and I do believe
You better
that's
not
why
be
it's
talking about no
breaking
Democrat
the way
down
it's
here.
breaking with
Crazy.
the independents and the party non-declareds here in Arizona. They're going the way of border security. They're going the way of less crime.
Fuck around, lose your
All
job.
right, Congressman Andy Biggs, thanks so much for being with us. Good luck in your contest tonight, and
You
we'll
better
talk to
just
you
be
soon.
quiet.
Thanks, Congressman.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right,
Nah,
much
I'm just
more
kidding. It ain't
election
that
night
bad,
coverage
but
right here on N2.
People
We're gonna
will
take a
look at
quick
you kind of
break. We're back
strange. You
with more
start
live
talking like
coverage.
that. What? Democrat? Boy, you crazy? They ain't gonna preach? Oh, hell. Who y'all got, man? Trump, Harris? What this ticker say? I ain't really been reading it up there.
When Rosa Parks stepped on that Montgomery, Alabama bus on December 1st, 1955, she didn't set out to make history. She just wanted to get home. Montgomery's segregated buses had divided seating. White passengers in front, colored passengers in the back. When the bus driver needed more seats for his white passengers,
What
he
about
ordered
Claudette
her
Colvin?
and 3 others to vacate their seats. The others complied
She did it first.
and moved. But Rosa quietly refused and was quickly arrested.
Rosa foot was hurt in the
Working
stomach.
alongside
Ain't that how the
Dr.
story
Martin
go?
Luther King,
I ain't getting out.
Rosa's arrest sparked a highly effective citywide
Look, baby, y'all gonna have to
protest
take
with
me to
African
jail.
Americans boycotting city
My
buses.
foots is hurt.
Rosa's protest and resulting boycott didn't end segregation.
You gonna have to get
But
your
it sparked
black
a
ass off here
movement
then.
that ended the racial
Call the
system,
police.
paving the way for a more equal society. You're watching An
Go on and
American
call
Moment.
him.
We are here watching the results.
Well, that
Polls are
music gonna be
closing.
stuck in
Welcome
my
back
head.
to
I ain't gonna
N2.
be
I'm
able to go
Bianca
to
Della
sleep,
Garza.
man.
And I'm John Bachman. Great to have everyone with us. I think we're going to get to some calls. We can talk about electoral college votes here. Washington, D.C., Oklahoma, Maryland, Massachusetts, Tennessee, Alabama, and Rhode Island. I think those are all being called here pretty soon. Do we have those?
Well, we do know Florida. We are just
Okay, my
calling
map
for
ain't
Donald
updated
Trump,
yet.
and he was out voting earlier today with Melania, and he said that he
Trump
was going
at
to be
105.
watching
Harris got
from
31.
Mar-a-Lago.
But on my screen, she
And
got
he now stands
35.
at
She got
105
Massachusetts,
with the states in addition to Florida. We
Connecticut,
called
Rhode
West
Island,
Virginia, South
Maryland,
Carolina, Kentucky, Indiana for
and
Donald
Vermont.
Trump. But Elon Musk also watching returns
this other
tonight
one
with
up there?
Donald Trump.
That's the place to be, is Mar-a-Lago.
Okay,
But
that's
let's
on
get
my
out
side
to
over
Bonita
here.
Springs, Florida right now, another place you want to be if you're in the Rick Scott campaign, because he has a victory already up on the
You're gonna
board.
learn today.
Dante McGlone is standing by there with our first victorious senator of the night. Dante.
Hey, Dante.
What's up, Dante?
Hey, how are you, John and Bianca?
Oh, he knew.
Hoping all is well.
He don't know what's going on.
In Boca.
He
Yeah,
just
I'm
got
here
the
at
job,
Rick Scott
man.
Watch party, and the atmosphere has been electric. Everyone here has expressed their expectation for the win from the Scott campaign, which can also strengthen his position within the leadership for the GOP with this big win. Senator Scott ran against Democratic contender Debbie Morse-Castle Powell. Sorry about that,
What?
I messed her name up. And the two traded criticism throughout the campaign. This Senate race was the only race on the ballot here in Florida. And
This brother just happy to
we
be
have
on
a lot
TV.
going on. I think Senator Scott's going to come out at some point, and we're going to try to take him at some point. We'll get some VO for you guys. But make no mistake, like this race has been like highly watched.
Looks like a lot of Republicans are winning for the Senate races as well.
For the GOP.
Tennessee.
And Mitch McConnell stepping aside, and we're hoping that Senator Rick Scott comes ahead and takes a hold. Back to you.
Dante, thank you so much for that live update. Obviously, a lot
Dante,
of
go have a
excited
cigarette,
folks
brother.
and happy folks in that room. We'll continue to watch the results and the parties that will be starting and kicking off as the night ticks on. Thanks, Dante.
It's a good assignment to get the Rick Scott campaign.
Great
I covered his
assignment.
governor's
It's a
race.
great assignment,
Great
Dante.
food at the Rick Scott,
Great
both at the
assignment.
primary and the general election.
Well, I hope there's a coffee stand. I heard over at the West Palm Beach Convention Center there was a big coffee stand because it could be a late night.
We're going to have to order some coffee here. We're going to be here, maybe till 2 o'clock tonight. But we got some race calls to get through. District of Columbia, even though nothing's been counted, you know
What's
how it
going
shakes
on in
out,
Georgia?
in Washington, D.C. They're already projecting that for Kamala Harris. Also, Oklahoma,
Trump is leading right now in
Maryland,
Georgia.
Massachusetts, Tennessee,
But,
Alabama, and Rhode Island.
all of the
Those
polling ain't
races
closed,
also
and they
coming
didn't
in.
have every
No real
county. Every
surprises
county
there.
hadn't came
The red
in
states
yet.
breaking red.
Last time
the
they
blue
showed
places
it.
breaking blue.
And we also are putting up Oklahoma.
you already know
We
it's gonna be
are
some janky
calling
stuff
it
going
for
on in
President
Georgia.
Donald Trump there, Oklahoma, with 7 electoral votes. So as we tick away there, he's now past 100.
It must not be
And
that
also,
big of a
we're
population in
calling
Oklahoma. They only
for
got 7.
Kamala Harris, not too much of a surprise there as well.
I would
We'll
think
watch
they'd be
that
around
Senate
10,
race, too,
15.
in Maryland, too. Larry Hogan, the outgoing
Well, not a
governor,
lot of
is
these
running for
middle,
Senate there,
what they call it, middle
and,
America states, they
he's
just like
basically running
single
on a split
digits.
ticket, telling people, we know you're going to vote for Kamala Harris, but don't vote.
See,
don't
Louisiana
forget to
got
vote for
8,
me
but I
as
would think
well,
it would have more than
as
that. They got a lot of
Republican.
people.
Popular governor, could cross over.
I thought they had a lot of people
and win there.
Yeah, some of those down ballot races like
Or
Bob
maybe it's
Casey
just because
in
I'm in
Pennsylvania
Texas. We
running
got
against
a
McCormick,
bukus
the
amount of
Democrat
people.
running, saying
But
putting
those
ads about
people
him
are
and Donald
kinda
Trump because of the way people
concentrated in
make
certain
wants to have
places,
the
too.
split ticket. Also here in
Still a lot of
Massachusetts,
fucking space to
that
cover.
was 4. And Tennessee, you went by too fast. Okay, Tennessee going for Trump, Massachusetts going for Kamala, but there you have it. Exciting as polls are starting to close. And again, we are waiting for.
They
of
got
course, a lot of the
Massachusetts
West
going
Coast
for
polls
Trump.
will be
Did
a
I?
little bit
Is it on
later
my screen?
So, one to
we're-
watch there, Arizona.
And we're waiting for some more information on Georgia.
Damn,
North
it's
Carolina,
blue on my
Virginia,
screen.
and the
Maybe it just
Pennsylvania
flipped.
Results coming in. We'll get to those in a second. Right now, let's get out
It
to
hadn't
Texas.
updated yet. Let me
And
see
our
if I can
correspondent
update
Jason
this.
Jones, who's covering the Ted Cruz Senate race there. What can you tell us, Jason?
Well, John Bianca, hey, it's good to see the old team back together, guys, by the way, for the big Super Bowl event here tonight. Listen, we're here with Ted Cruz in Houston, Texas. The polls just closed at 7 o'clock, and the numbers are coming in. I'm watching it real time here. We've got
Always
about
just say
10
web source. Why I
different
can't?
counties where the data is coming in. Over 2 million different votes have come in now. Ted Cruz,
Refresh.
of these 10 votes, you got or 10 counties, he's at 52%, leading his competitor, Congressman Allred. But
It
look,
demonstrates.
we've
What
got a
did I
lot
do,
tonight.
y'all?
Texas is big, guys.
Did I
We got
mess it up?
54 counties here to count.
Dang.
So it's going to be a while here, but I can tell you the enthusiasm here, as you can see behind me, it's alive and well, and we'll be reporting on it the rest of the night. But the data is finally coming in, so the campaign's over. Now it's a matter of looking and see what the numbers are and what the voters really had to think about. This open border that we covered on your program for so
Hold on,
long,
y'all.
and all the issues across this nation. Back to you.
Did I mess it
All
up?
of the lives that were lost at the hands of illegals.
It
I
ain't
think of
popping up.
Jocelyn Nungary,
Dang.
the 12-year-old who is in
I might have
Houston,
to
and the mother who's hearing in an
delete it
ad.
and bring it back up.
Promotion there, Jason. Good to have you in.
Let me
I
see.
know
Let
you're
me see if
watching,
it's gonna
the
pop
crowd
back
there
up.
and talking to lots of Cruz supporters, so we'll be checking back with you throughout the evening. Thanks, Jason.
It probably just refresh on its own.
Great to be with you.
All right, stick around. We continue to monitor
Boy,
the states.
see?
More election
Black people
results
be
coming
messing with
in.
stuff,
States
just
like
leave it alone.
Pennsylvania, Virginia, North Carolina. We're all on pins and
Just
needles.
leave it
We'll have a
alone.
Look for you at the Donald
Hold
Trump
on.
party in West Palm Beach, Florida. We'll check in there as well. Stay with us.
Let me do another one real quick. I ain't going nowhere. Y'all stay tuned.
At 9:47
All right.
found himself sitting on top of an Atlas 6 rocket.
All right. Bam. Y'all see it? Did it go anywhere? And your comments are still there. Hallelujah.
John Glenn became the 4th human being to enter space
Bam.
and the first
Back in
American
business.
to orbit the Earth. For his remarkable heroism, President Kennedy awarded Colonel Glenn NASA's Distinguished
that?
Service
Just leave it alone. I ain't gonna mess with it no more.
This universe in
Auntie, chill.
May God grant us the wisdom and guidance to use it wisely. Thank you, Ken.
Glenn went on to become the United States Senator from Ohio, and in 1984 ran for the Democratic presidential nomination, but lost to Walter Mondale.
Freedom lives.
I think that at the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian. Well, always has been. Because how do we call a liberal? You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism. And what is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation. Well, isn't this the liberal philosophy? The conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
Yeah, ain't that right? The liberals used to be more so like more freedom. Now they want to have more control. Remember those type of liberals that used to be like the hippies and stuff like that? There's more freedom.
Break down how things are shaking out.
Now they
in
want
states
more
like
government.
Georgia,
Shit is
North
crazy.
Carolina, Virginia. You can see them kind of trending in certain directions here on the screens, but
Okay,
don't
what he
panic.
got
Don't
up for? Let's
focus
look
too
at his
much on what
map.
you see
Let me
right
blow
now.
it
Let's
up.
kind of break down the numbers for you and take a look a little bit. Here's the state of Georgia for you, and you can see the Metro Atlanta area here.
There you
Fulton
go,
County,
Sassy.
Cobb County. Those were breaking Democrat. They've been trending that way for a long time. This is the Metro Atlanta area, and this is favored for Kamala Harris. But what you can see here in the state of Georgia is you see the rural
lot of
votes
red.
coming out for Donald Trump. This was the concern. This was, what needed to happen in order for Donald Trump to win. And with about 43% of the vote being counted right now, Donald Trump has an 11-point lead in Georgia. So there's that.
Donald Trump got an 11-point lead in
At
Georgia.
the state of North Carolina, a key state for Donald Trump to win. Right now, when you look at North Carolina, we got about 9% of the vote coming in, but it is very close, about 4 points right now separating Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. Donald Trump has won North Carolina the last 2 election cycles. He's looking to win that again. So we're watching North Carolina very closely to see how some of those counties come down. Let's take a look at Virginia as well. This is also getting a little bit closer for Donald Trump. This would be a huge pickup for the former president if he is able to take Virginia. But you can see some of the areas here, like Loudoun County and Fairfax County in Virginia. You've seen Donald Trump here in these counties. He has been able to cut into the Democrats' lead where he lost by a pretty big difference. You can see he's still losing significantly in Arlington County, in that part where Arlington, Virginia is, in Loudoun County and Fairfax County. But he is eating into his lead a little bit in Virginia, into the Democrats' lead. All right, let's take a look at Pennsylvania, because this is, what everybody wants to know. We'll watch these collar counties around Philadelphia and see how they break down. Not a lot of the vote, just 5% coming in thus far.
they don't
Kamala
got a
Harris
lot
there
already came in
has a
Philadelphia.
lead in Pennsylvania. But again, it's still early in the
Pennsylvania.
night. We're still waiting for a lot of the counties to report their votes. Georgia trending well for Donald Trump. Early in the night for North Carolina in terms of counting. Early in the night for Virginia, and early in the night for Pennsylvania there as well. Bianca, back to you.
A lot of this, John, is what we've been seeing is early voting. There had been record turnout in states like Georgia and other places. We know that a lot of folks have been already at the polls, so not just today. And when you look at some of those counties in Virginia, not surprised. I mean, Loudoun County, some of the things they're talking about is, boys and girls sports. And we know the story with Scott Smith, which really, maybe was the reason Youngkin won governor. And these are the types of issues that Americans are looking at and saying the progressives and the radicals pushed it maybe a little bit too far here with their trans agenda. Obviously, Virginia being in play for Donald Trump, and it's still early, but looking at some of those counties, looking at them being red, very interesting as well, could be an indicator, things we're watching very closely.
Look at that, the
Live
House
here on your
seats.
screen are the crowds that are already gathering
going
in
red.
West Palm Beach. This is the convention center just up the road and across the intercoastal from beautiful Mar-a-Lago.
District 6. Oh, that was
And
just
a lot
an
of the folks
individual
there gathering, hoping to see a
house in
speech
the
from Donald Trump
state
tonight. But
house
we watch,
seats.
obviously, a lot of polls still open in the western part of our great nation, so there is still time for people to vote. And also, if you are in line, you have to stay in line, because even when polls close, if you are in line, you will be able
Look,
to
there go a
vote.
black
So
dude
you've
right
got
there with
those
a
MAGA
Make
hats
America
there,
Great
some of the
Again
dark
hat.
MAGA hats. We know Elon Musk is also with Donald Trump over at Mar-a-Lago. So
What's
what an
up, fam?
exciting night, and what a historic night.
What's up,
As we
love?
continue our coverage, pleased to bring in right now
What's going
the
on?
former
Tell me who you
Lieutenant
voting for.
Governor of New York,
I love
Betsy
Jesus. Tell me who
McCoy,
you
who
vote for.
has
Put hashtag
been
Trump,
writing about
hashtag
some of
Harris.
the
I know who
issues
you
that are
going
really
for.
on
Just
a
let
lot
me
of
know what's
voters'
going on.
minds. But also,
Appreciate
one
you
of the
coming
wedge
through.
issues, I want to talk to you about abortion, Betsy, because Kamala
And that's
Harris
somebody from
obviously has
YouTube.
tried to use
That's a good
this,
sign. I
tried
like
to
that.
use the issue with younger
Appreciate you
voters.
coming through, love
But you
Jesus.
have actually called out
Let me show
some
you my
of
map
the
here. Oh, that's
issues
Nicole?
that this may backfire on them as this being sort
that
of
Nicole from Twitter?
the main issue when people can't afford gas or groceries. And a lot of women
happened to my
are
map?
the main caretakers of their family.
Well, let's all look at it.
What
Let's
happened to
also
my damn
look at
map,
it this
man?
way. Kamala Harris's claims about
Hold on.
abortion
Let me load it
are
up
a
again.
big lie, probably the biggest lie
What is
in this
going on with
election.
my map?
She has said again and again that former President Trump will support a national abortion ban.
That's
And
Nicole
she
from Twitter?
claims that if she is the president, she will codify Roe v. Wade. Neither of these.
Oh, my cousin Nicole. She voted for Kamala. Okay. Bro, what's going on with my map? Okay, it's popping up now. Look like I'm gonna have to do this all night. Love, so you love Jesus. Okay. Okay. Appreciate you coming through, Nicole. Get Jen on her. Where Jen at? What's her name on her? Yeah, me too. You already know who I voted for, so you don't know. I voted for Trump. Trump? Oh, I already know. You ain't had to tell me. You ain't even had to tell me. I already know. I know Jen is. That's for sure. I seen when she posted on Facebook the other day, the cops made her pull her stuff out. She was mad. She'll be all right. She got it. She can get another bottle. She can get another bottle. Let me get my video back up here.
I want to see them in sports, and I don't want to see my daughters or my granddaughters brutalized by
know
a
why
man
my video,
pretending to be
know why my
a
map
female
just
in
disappeared a
sports.
minute ago.
No, and that's kind of what we were picking up on Loudoun County in Virginia. That was a big issue. And it also got to the point where when parents went to school boards and complained, they were being called domestic terrorists by the Biden-Harris DOJ. So these past 2 years, there's been so many flashpoints. New York, for one reason.
Yeah, that's my kinfolk
the
right
state has
there.
been
Love Jesus
hurting
on
the
YouTube.
sanctuary cities of New York City. You have
It's hard getting
migrant
people on
gangs,
YouTube to
11
come
years
through.
old,
You know,
and
that's a
they're
different
so
type of
young.
algorithm on there.
Betsy, they
I
can't
get more
be
traction
charged
on
as
them
adults, and
videos.
you have all those radical
said.
DA policies now and bail reform. These kids aren't even being charged yet. They're
You gonna
running-
stay
they're
up all
running
night,
street
Nicole?
crimes, like transnational gangs.
That's right. The impact of the border on crime,
I might be on her
on
for a
street
while.
safety, on public
Even though I know when it gets to
schooling.
the end, it's gonna get so close.
The
Well, if it ain't
impact of
close,
the border is affecting people all over the country.
then they gonna
even
call
as
it.
far
You know what
away
I'm
from the
saying? But if it's
border
close,
as New York
this shit gonna
City,
take a couple of
Connecticut,
days,
Maine,
man.
very affected by the border crisis. Maine is a poor state, and yet the taxpayers in Maine are spending their money putting migrants from
said, "I live on
Africa
YouTube."
in motels
Oh, you gotta
when
work
they
in the
can
morning.
barely afford to pay for a room for their
Gonna
own
stay up as
families.
long as you can.
There's also you've written about.
I don't
sort
know
of
why it's not
concerns
showing
about
my ticker
disease,
from
too.
YouTube though.
And,
I
they
see you
weren't
is on
getting
YouTube, but it
Coming
ain't
out
it ain't
tonight
showing
about tuberculosis.
it ain't showing that. Look,
Tuberculosis
I'm gonna
is
see if I
coming
can pull
across
it
the
up.
border, Bianca.
See my
And,
viewer count?
we won a
See on
war
my
against
YouTube up there, it ain't
tuberculosis
showing
in the
that.
20th century.
It's got 0.
Americans
Should
should
say
not
1
have
at
to
least.
fight that war again, and yet tuberculosis is coming across the border.
Now that's making me
and
wonder
It's spreading
if
across
people
the
do
country.
be watching on
Well,
there
we
and
will
it
look
just
for
don't
that
show it.
piece, and
See?
of course, we'll
Now I
watch
got
you
3.
with John Burnett, first edition, as
Maybe it's
always.
just
Former
slow.
Lieutenant Governor of New York. Now you can see her every morning here on N2. Betsy McCoy, appreciate it. Thanks for being with us this
Okay.
evening, this historic election.
A pleasure.
All right, let's talk about Michigan now and welcome in former gubernatorial candidate Tudor Dixon.
watching it on
to
TV and
talk
on your
about,
phone?
what's going on in that state. Some of the results coming in. Tudor, give us your feeling on how you think Michigan is going to shake out.
Oh yeah, I know. I
Michigan
done
is a
seen
very
you. I seen you on
interesting
there
state this
before.
time. I think that we are
I've seen
seeing.
you. I
we're
just
seeing
didn't know
some
it was
groups
you.
that typically go to Democrats that are
Now that I
going
know
to
who
go
it
to
is, I'm gonna
Donald
be
Trump.
looking out.
You saw, maybe you saw last night at his rally that he had the mayor of Hamtramck and the mayor of Dearborn Heights on at the rally endorsing.
Yeah, I don't know
him.
who a lot
These
of
are
those
two
people are. I'm
mayors
pretty
that
sure
come
it's
from
folks
our
that I know.
Arab American community,
But
and
I
the
don't
Arab
know,
American
what your
community
tags
has
is and your
historically
handles
gone
and
for
stuff like that.
Democrats, and now they're coming out for Republicans more and more, similar to the Loudoun County issues that you brought up, Bianca.
Okay,
that's
that's
what
what's
we're seeing
up.
here in the state of Michigan
That's what's
as well.
up.
And the Arab American
Every
community
time I
wants
go
someone that's going to
live,
stand for them,
you
but
know, some
also
people
for
don't get them
business, also for the
notifications.
economy.
Others do, others
and
don't.
the same thing you'll see in Wayne County and you'll see in Kent County.
But I know
Groups
some
in
people,
those
they do.
counties that have historically gone for Democrats are saying,
I've been at
you
the
know
store
what?
a few
I
times
don't
and people
like
say, "Man,
my
you on
finances. I don't
YouTube,
like what
man?
it looks
You
like
on
going to the
Facebook?"
grocery store, and I'm going to come
Be
out
like,
for Donald
"Yo."
Trump." So I think we can
Even
have a
one
real
lady, she
surprise
stopped
coming out
me,
of Michigan tonight.
and I was just
Arab
walking with my
American
phone.
vote
I was
for
going to
sure
Walmart.
is
She was like, "Look at you. You
fascinating,
think you're a
and the
celebrity?"
black
I
vote
didn't even know what she was
was,
talking about. I'm
Donald
guessing she
Trump's
talking about
gaining some serious
Facebook
ground,
or
at least we see
YouTube,
in
but
Georgia
I
as well. We'll
didn't
see if that continues
I'm
over
like,
to
bro, I ain't
Michigan.
no
But let's
celebrity.
talk about the car
I just be
industry. as
clicking
well.
on my
All those
computer.
EV mandates.
That shit don't
Donald
mean
Trump, when he
nothing.
said it would be a bloodbath for the auto industry, of course, the liberal
These folks have
media
got
tried
way
to
more clout on her
misconstrue,
than
like they
me.
always did, his words. But we know that industry and the auto industry, especially in Michigan, is such a key issue for folks in the American workers who are struggling very, very much in this day and age under Biden and Harris, Tudor.
Yes, of course, and I've heard Democrats try to twist the words of what the mandate actually are. I mean, Pete Buttigieg was doing it today. Alyssa Slotkin is constantly saying, well, I'm not going to tell you what car you're going to drive. Well, this is the same thing
Okay,
they
he got
do
a
with
lead
gas
in
stoves. I'm
North
not going to tell
Dakota.
you. No, they're actually mandating
Kamala
it
got a
behind
lead
the
in
scenes.
Michigan.
So the automakers
Kamala
have
locked
got to
up
switch over,
Illinois.
and eventually we will all have to switch
Okay, Trump
over
just took
to
Arkansas.
EVs. But as Donald Trump said when he said that, well, that would be a
Kamala
bloodbath
took
for the
Kansas, North
industry.
Carolina,
he was
Illinois,
saying that, but
Michigan,
take a look at what you see
Pennsylvania,
in Germany right now. You just had
Jersey,
Volkswagen announce
Vermont,
last week they will probably
Massachusetts,
close 3
Connecticut,
factories and lay
and
off
she's leading
tens
in
of
Delaware.
thousands of workers because they cannot compete with
leading
the
in New
Chinese
Hampshire.
vehicles that are now in Germany. And this is what Donald Trump has
Okay,
promised
now I
the
take that
workers in
back. She's
Michigan.
leading
I will not let these
in Michigan,
Chinese
leading
EVs come
in
here.
Illinois,
I will
leading
not let
in
your jobs be
Kansas,
taken away.
leading
And you
in
saw last
Pennsylvania,
night
New Jersey,
the United Auto
and North
Workers were
Carolina.
at his rally in Grand Rapids saying we're
But she
with
won
Donald Trump.
Vermont, Massachusetts,
Yeah, that's where he's
Connecticut.
closed. Not
But
this
that ain't
election cycle,
35.
but
Where's
also
the dark colors
2020
at?
and 2016, closing in the state of Michigan. And it does feel that there is this referendum on the establishment,
11,
that
7,
this is
3.
sort of the
It don't
elites
add up.
versus the working class, any way you slice it. You mentioned Alyssa Slotkin, obviously Mike Rogers, the Republican, running against her. If he were to win, obviously that's another
I think
Super
this
Senate, these
module a
down
little
ballot
slow.
races.
It's gonna be
Not
all
just
right,
the
though.
White House we're looking at, Tudor, but a potential GOP takeover of the Senate, which would be incredible, especially in light of what we've heard from Kamala Harris, which is we will look at the filibuster.
Right, right. Well, I think what they've done is they've tried to fearmonger. They've used abortion. They've overused abortion now, especially in the state of Michigan. It's enshrined in the Constitution. There's no changing that law or the Constitution in the state of Michigan. And so they've overused that. And
Appreciate the
they haven't come out with
retweet,
another option.
Gucci.
They haven't come out and said, well, actually, we're going to offer you something else. And the people of our state, at least, have said, we understand what you're doing. We know you're trying to manipulate us. We know you're trying to
Yeah, that's
scare
right.
us
I
with
got to
this
stay in
message.
line and vote. If
That's
you hadn't
not a
voted,
message
go out
here
and
in
vote.
Michigan. So what are you offering us? And it's turning out that they're
Let's
not
get this
offering
thing
anything.
done.
And that's why you'll see Mike Rogers will have an advantage tonight. But honestly, I think it will be very interesting
Everybody
to see
go out and vote.
not only what happens
Okay,
on the
she
national
won
level in Michigan, but the
Massachusetts.
state level, because we've
Let me
just had
see.
people lying and fear-mongering on the Democrat side for
Okay,
so
Sonny
long
said
now,
she won
and the Michigan
Massachusetts,
people have figured that out.
Connecticut, Rhode Island,
A lot
and
of
Maryland.
people wise
Yep.
to it this time
Now
around.
it just
Tudor Dixon,
changed.
always great to see you. Thank you.
See, when you tell me, it all of a sudden changed.
Thanks,
What the hell?
Tudor. Let's bring in now host of the Leventhal Report right
New
here
Jersey.
on
She won
NT,
New
Rick
Jersey,
Leventhal,
too. New
watching
Jersey,
some of the results
Vermont,
coming in. We just had Georgia.
and then Massachusetts,
Wow, it's
Connecticut, and
looking
Rhode
good.
Island.
Obviously,
Yep.
we're just watching
That's
some
where
of
you
the
get the
precincts,
49.
but
Now she
Donald
got
Trump
49.
has made a lot of trips to Georgia,
Okay.
and we know that.
Appreciate the update.
and that's
Sonny with the
Arkansas we're
update,
putting up there
y'all.
as well. But we know how
Sonny the
much
God
both of them would love
with
to
the
have
update.
Georgia, and he
Appreciate
has the
it.
endorsement of Brian Kemp, very popular governor in the state of Georgia.
Well, and Georgia, traditionally a red state, switched to blue in part because people were moving there from New York and California and other states, and people are like, don't
cut my
don't
TV
do
on.
this to Georgia. But Georgia,
Now, hold on real
is in
quick.
play for both candidates, and it is too close to call right now. Too early to make a prediction here. But Georgia is obviously very important to both candidates. Donald Trump has spent a lot of time there, and Georgia was also involved in that hurricane and was not. A lot of people not so pleased with the response of the federal government. Just south of Georgia, Florida, fully red, and it's already being called for Trump. So it would be surprising to some if Harris were to win Georgia, but we know it's close. We know there are a lot of registered Democrats there, maybe a little bit more than registered Republicans, but there are enough people on the fence that Trump certainly can and maybe will win Georgia. Pennsylvania may be critical. Of course, there are several swing states in Pennsylvania, probably the most important one, and I'm eager to see more numbers come in from Pennsylvania. The other thing that I know is challenging for all of us is how some states count more quickly than others. Some states are very slow to count their numbers, and we're just sitting here waiting. It's a little nerve-wracking. but there's not much else we can do, right?
Well, good to have it done right. Georgia voters, by the way, exceeded 4 million mark on Friday. That's when early voting was concluded. And the Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, says this was the most successful early voting period in Georgia history because voters trust the process. So you have to wonder if you're energized to vote, what campaign gave you that energy? And was it Donald Trump showing up in Valdosta, trying to, help the people that were there, bringing Starlink from Elon Musk to some of these ravaged areas? And then you had FEMA saying, well, you can't land the Starlink. So the weaponization really not just to Donald Trump, but some people say to the actual American people who are hurting. Where were the leaders? It was pretty incredible to see Donald Trump show up and kind of
I'm
facilitate.
at the hardwire my computer. Y'all hold
I
on.
think people in Georgia maybe have recent recollection of he was here just when we needed him.
And can we just take a step back, too, and talk about not just the early voting, but the limited lines today? And you heard so much fear-mongering from Democrats about the elections process in Georgia and these election integrity laws that they put into place and how it was going to make it too hard for people to vote and it was going to disadvantage certain demographics. Obviously, that's not the case. You won't hear any of these people like Stacey Abrams, who talked about this being Jim Crow 2.0 and all the pundits you heard, Jim Crow on steroids. You're not going to hear any of them come out and say, you know what, we were wrong. It actually is very easy to vote in Georgia, and they've proven that because we've had this record turnout over and over again, not just this cycle, but the last cycle as well.
One of the things that struck me is how many states don't require photo IDs to vote. Half the
that's
states
crazy.
Don't require a photo ID. More than half the states.
That's crazy,
I
bro.
voted in California. All I had to do was walk in, tell them my name, my birth date, my address. They said, okay,
Lord have
you're
mercy.
good to go. How easy would it be for anyone to know their neighbors or their friends or
And
their
then just
family
go say
members'
it. That's crazy.
birth date and address
Oh, yeah, I'm Mike
and full
Thompson. It's a
name,
whole
and then
damn
just
Mexican.
vote for them.
Address
I'm concerned about that.
2317
I think if you have to show your ID to buy
Nacho
something
Street.
or to get alcohol or to check into a hotel, you should
You
have
don't
to
look
show
like
your
a
ID
fucking Mike
to
Davis.
vote.
You can't even
Governor
speak
Newsom
English.
made it illegal.
Yeah,
for
that's
them
me,
just
Holmes.
recently to ask
I
for
want to
voter
vote for
ID. And why it's
Kamala.
also so,
Lord have
concerning is
mercy.
that there are illegals with driver's licenses, and there you have it. So
They
that is
everywhere.
one of the things in California that I know a lot of folks were concerned with as well, Rick.
Yeah. And California,
You ain't seen all the wrecks?
Very unlikely that Trump can win that state. It's been Democrat for quite some time now. But, it can indicate support for the former president. And I think Georgia's another key indicator. If he can win Georgia, that will show you that even
That damn map done
states
disappeared
that are
again, boy, I
turning
swear to
blue
God.
now, that he can win those states.
You know
That's
what?
a
Maybe
great
it's
sign.
like
He
loading
had the
up.
best
I'm gonna
rallies.
sit
Obviously,
here
of either
for a
candidate.
minute
He
and see
would
what
fill
happens.
those arenas, fill those rally sites with
that's not me
with
doing that.
thousands
That's
and
them.
thousands of
And Rick-
supporters who would line up for hours. Go ahead.
I don't want to cut you off here, but I feel
I'ma
like we
just
need
see
to.
what-
Can we
what
just put North Carolina back up on
Yeah.
the map? We just showed how Donald Trump has been closing in North Carolina, something we've been talking about. The urban
Kamala is
area
leading in
votes, Charlotte,
Pennsylvania.
Raleigh,
She
they
got
have come in,
69%.
but we're starting to see the
Trump
rural
got
areas in North
28.
Carolina, and it
Well,
is
70
razor close
point
right
six to
now.
28.5.
If we could update this, the graphic I have here on the screen is Donald Trump has just
But it's
moved
too
out
early
to
to
a
call.
lead, in North Carolina, but it's 50-50 basically here on the screen. But this is how it's going to be.
Looks like the
throughout the
Democrats
night
won in
states like
Missouri.
North Carolina, which
It's
Donald
only
Trump won in.
14%.
Yeah.
But the
reported,
governor
so
did.
Still a little bit early on.
Yeah, I got 16% here on this. It's the same information.
No,
just
the
a little
governor
bit,
is leading.
more, quicker here, but this just shows you how things are moving very quickly.
And we made the report with the point earlier.
A little bit of these
about
districts
how
that came
uneven
in
the
for
playing field
Georgia.
has been, and I think it's worth reminding people, if they don't already know this, how negative the coverage of Donald Trump has been by the mainstream media and how positive
She's
it's
winning
been
pretty
of
much in
Kamala
Fulton
Harris.
County,
It really strikes me
71.5 to
as very
27.7.
unfair that it's okay for reportedly or supposedly
Gwinnett County, she up
neutral
60.3 to
news organizations to go
38.7.
full on in support of Kamala Harris and full on negative on Donald
I think
Trump.
those
And
are
it's
some of the bigger
it's
counties.
disheartening to me
The
that
majority
people
black
are getting
people.
their news filtered before they can get it. And, obviously,
right, let
on
me
opinion
change this
shows,
up. Let me
like
change
my
my
show on
module.
N2, the 11th Thought Report, I'm going to give my opinion. But mainstream media, mainstream newscasts, and newspapers, they're supposed to be down the middle, and they haven't been. And they've given Harris a big leg up, I think, because a lot of people maybe aren't seeing the flaws. They're not hearing the stories about stuff that she's done and contributed to that has hurt Americans. And, we're going to have to wait and see whether that message actually gets through or not.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan, I believe last check was about 45 million.
All right, I'm going to pull my map back up. Y'all give me a second. I gotta always fucking. Like, I'm gonna be fooling with that all night.
We thought. Let's welcome in host of the Pulse here on N2, David Harris.
Yeah, that map is. I guess it's still loading up.
Donald Trump could do it. Although she was able to rearrange her entire schedule.
We'll
to
just
fly
leave
to
it
New York
alone.
City last
It really ain't
Saturday,
nothing I can do about it, I guess.
for that, you know, it was something we'd seen it before on Jimmy Fallon. Donald Trump did it, but she did that the whole mirror bit on
Blow
Saturday
this
Night
video
Live.
up.
Well, she did that because
Damn,
it
I
was
wish my map
scripted.
come back up.
And
That's a
it's
nice
pretty
little.
easy for her to seemingly follow a script. We've seen the words
I'm a
sounds
hardwire.
come out of
Hold
her
on.
mouth
Let me
when
hardwire.
she's
Let
not
me
following
see
a
if
script, when she's
maybe-
literally trying to figure out what to say or how to say it without saying the same thing over and over and over again. So the fact that Joe Rogan threw out there that she could have a sit-down discussion with him for 2, potentially 3 hours, as President Donald J. Trump did, there's no way that her campaign would allow that to happen. Joe, I believe, actually even said that they were trying to throw stipulations in there, like you can talk about this, you can ask about this. These are some of the things that you can talk about. And Joe said, absolutely not. We're not going to do that. You're either going to sit down with me and have a talk, or we're not going to do it. And President Trump did that over and over.
All right, I
and
hope y'all
over
don't
again.
lose me,
How
man.
many
I just
sit-down
hardwired.
interviews
I'm
did he
finna
give with
change it over from
mainstream
Wi-Fi. I'm
social
using my
media
Wi-Fi.
influencers or
See if that'll help.
mainstream individuals like Joe Rogan, like the Nelk Boys? He
Joe Biden. It
Y'all
came
hang in
out.
there.
It
Y'all
was
hang
a
in
real
there.
eye-opener, I think, for a
I
lot
think
of
I came
Americans,
back.
David, to the fact that, yes, they covered for him Legacy Media, and then they put her in.
Should be back.
Obviously now trying to sell her as the candidate, as you said, going on softball
Just hang
interviews,
in there.
never
Y'all just
doing
bear
any,
with your boy.
press conferences,
was-
not accessible. Even yesterday,
come back?
closing arguments, same speech every time, only about 1
Hot
minute.
dog.
Yeah, there was one.
I'm back in
pundit,
business.
A surrogate for Kamala Harris today was talking about her winning.
Okay.
And instead of
Sonny,
saying
okay, I saw
winning
you say
the
we
White
lost you.
House, they talked about
And I'm back.
installing her
Okay.
in the White House, maybe
Cool,
a Freudian
cool.
slip. But it does, I mean, I think it does speak to, there was no
Y'all had the
moment
hard
for
wire,
Kamala Harris
y'all.
on the campaign trail. When you
See
think
if I
about
can
a
get a
Bill
better
Clinton,
connection here.
I feel your pain kind of moment, she never broke through.
Maybe
She never
things will
had
load
the
up a little bit
opportunity,
quicker.
or she had the opportunity, but she never, capitalized on the opportunity to really have that real moment with
I think
voters.
we kind
and
of
we'll
got
see
something
if
going
that
there. I
affects
may be
her
a better.
tonight.
It's still a little laggy.
Yeah, I think we will.
Ohio
I
went
hope-
red.
I hope the American people. I hope the American people see
Okay,
that
it's still
we've got
light
the
red over here.
smartest
They ain't
man,
updated
seemingly
yet.
smartest, wealthiest, richest
Okay.
man in the world, Elon Musk, landing rocket ships, doing something that's never been done in the history of mankind
why my
before.
ticker is covering up my
Vivek
numbers now?
Ramaswamy, we've got Tulsi Gabbard that left the Democrat Party. We've got RFK Jr. that was actually running for president himself. That's very presidential. Along with J.D. Vance, we've got and I'm hearing Rand Paul.
Ohio
as well.
went
They're saying,
red.
hey,
Sonny
let's-
say Ohio
let's bring
went
in
red.
these
Well, that's
individuals.
17 right there.
This is a top tier team of people.
Oh, yeah, okay.
that are going up
Light
against
red. My
who?
bad.
Beyonce
My bad.
And Oprah.
It's light red.
And Cardi B.
Well, certainly
And
not
people that are
Beyonce.
booty shaking and talking about.
Oh, you mean
over
light
stuff.
red.
It's
You
like-
mean light red. Okay, okay.
Certainly not
Yeah,
career
add him and all the
politicians.
other
Maine
people
just
out
went
there.
light red on my screen.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, the
David-
Diddy list goes on and on.
All right,
If
David
you take Ohio
Harris
and
Jr.,
Maine,
we will,
Maine
of
got
course,
2
check back in with you
electoral
as the night
votes.
progresses
Ohio
here.
got
Thank you.
17.
Thanks, David. Now we're going to check back in with John Huddy, who is at one of the hottest tickets in town, and that is the
Man, why
launch
this,
party over in West Palm Beach at the Convention Center.
crowd is so
We've been
big,
looking
and I
at some
can't
of the
see
live
my-
pictures there, really filling up inside that room, John.
Yeah, it definitely is, Bianca and John. And I've been talking to a lot of the folks here, people that I've seen, people that I know, that I've seen on the campaign trail. Number one, Trump senior advisors, Trump surrogates, but also Trump supporters that I know. And the feeling that the
Boy.
one word that I keep hearing is
Now they got it
nervous.
covered up.
People are nervous. They're nervous. They are excited. They feel that Trump is going to win. They're seeing the results coming in, even here in Florida. Basically,
He
Trump
dropped this
winning the
down
state,
over here.
projected to win the state.
Damn, I'm trying to see my
Even
numbers.
Miami-Dade County, by the way, John and Bianca, and I don't know if you guys have talked about this, but Trump won Miami-Dade County. Which
Oh,
is
yeah,
a
this
pretty
is.
big
This gonna
deal
go on
because
all night.
Miami-Dade County, Broward County,
The only way it's
Palm
gonna
Beach
end
counties have
is if it's a
traditionally
clear-cut
gone
winner.
blue. That
If
is
it's not a
up until
clear-cut
really
winner,
we
this
started
gonna go on
seeing
for
a shift
about
back
2
in
more days,
2020,
man.
And then in 2022,
Then
during
folks gonna say,
the
we
midterm
still haven't
elections,
calculated
Governor
the vote.
DeSantis did
We
very, very
still-
well.
We
Down
still
here in
got
South
5
Florida,
counties.
particularly
Man, y'all should have been to counted that.
Well, Trump has taken the county. Why is that a big deal? Why is that
Kansas
an
went
interest?
blue.
Because of
Light
the huge
blue.
Hispanic Latino vote and the possibility that could be a gauge and certainly something to look at, and nationally as well with the Hispanic Latino voters. As I'm looking at the numbers here, it's very, very close in Palm Beach County, really neck and neck with about 93% of the votes coming in. Broward County, it looks like Harris is taking Broward County. I thought for a minute ago that Trump was taking Broward County too, and my eyes almost jumped out of my head. But it looks like at this point it's still going blue. But again, Miami-Dade County is a big victory for
It
Trump
still
because
got,
it shows that
Trump
he's getting that Hispanic,
light
very
red
important
in
Hispanic
Georgia.
Latino vote. Not only
But
Cubans,
that one-
a younger
Well,
new
that shit gonna go on
generation
for the next couple of days,
Cuban
man.
voters, Republican voters,
We know
but
that.
also in Miami, you see.
Well,
you
y'all got to
see
see this lady
Venezuelan,
on
you see
Fox News. She
Brazilian,
got the
you see a lot
Colonel
of
Sanders
South
tie.
American voters coming in as
Lord
well.
have
So that could
mercy.
be a good gauge of what we may see nationally. But here in
I
the
mean, she
room,
literally got
a
the
lot
Colonel
of
Sanders tie, bro. It looked
anticipation,
like
lot
a
of people
T.
that are nervous,
Straight
a
over
lot of
here
people
and
that are
straight
anxious,
down.
but certainly excited that
the
we're
hell?
here, that we're at this point.
You're right. It's gonna take a
after,
damn
It's
month.
been a long, tough road, but
It's gonna take
here
a
we are.
damn
Big
month to
night,
count the damn votes.
extraordinary and historic night, you guys. Back to you.
John,
It's
there were
gonna take a
couple big
damn
ballot
month. They're gonna be
measures,
already
too,
decided.
on
They
the
still
ballot
gonna be
in
talking about they
Florida,
counting
ballot
votes.
measure for,
Man, we not listening to y'all.
Abortion access, a ballot measure
I
for
sure
recreational
do.
marijuana. How are the results
sure
looking on those
do.
two issues?
It looks
Man,
like,
Florida
Amendment
took
3
forever,
is gonna
bro.
pass.
They
Amendment
had
4,
to
I
cheat.
don't think is going to pass. I haven't seen the latest on that, so I can't.
There was
really
cheating
speak to
involved
that.
with that. I mean,
But-
I know
but
it was
looks like
Republican,
people
but they
are
was cheating, bro.
supporting, the measure to
They
legalize,
took
essentially
way too
legalize
long.
cannabis, legalize
And the old
marijuana
boy, his brother
here
was the
in
governor of the state at
States.
the time,
But
so
there's
you
been
know that was
pushback,
some janky
I
stuff.
believe against Amendment 4, but don't hold me to that because I haven't seen the
Well, they
latest on
yeah,
that.
they
I've
done
been
played around with
focused
this
on some
vote
of the
stuff
other
so
numbers.
much. It's
Fair
crazy.
enough. Fair enough.
But I'll definitely
Trick
take a look.
questions over here, Bachman.
Okay, now
I
you
was
can see the
hoping that John
numbers.
had- Because I have not paid
Took
as
them
much
long
attention
enough.
to it.
Harris got 71. Trump got
Well, you know what I'm
one.
looking
But I
at
don't think
is
that's
Virginia.
right. Trump got more than 101.
Virginia has
Some of these
13
states ain't lit up
electoral
yet over
votes. Virginia right now, about 43%
Trump got a.
reporting.
I'm looking at it on the
Donald
TV.
is
Trump got
ahead
111.
of Kamala Harris in Virginia.
Electoral
DC suburbs. You know, it could be an indicator of something. That is one
Okay,
of the states
Virginia
that was
started
not
with red.
expected to break Donald Trump's way.
You're
If it was,
Harris got
it's
72.
13 electoral votes.
You're talking about
votes.
Virginia, or you're talking?
Virginia.
Yeah, Virginia.
What's the
North
magic
Carolina
number,
was new
270?
against Donald Trump. Virginia, right now, still
Yeah,
looks like it's trending
270.
towards Kamala
But
Harris
it's
just a
close.
bit. Yeah, it's very close.
It's
We're
razor
talking
thin.
about
It's crazy
less than
because I
2
can't
points away
actually
from
click
each
on
other.
this
Yeah.
map.
But you know,
I wonder how do I get somewhere where I can click on this map? I got my layers.
We'll see on that. Our thanks to John Huddy there. in
Yeah,
West Palm
doing
Beach,
a great job at probably one of the
I'm scared to
most
start messing with it,
buzzworthy
man.
places right now. Virginia's one. Also,
Shit
we're
gonna
looking out
disappear,
west,
bro.
not closed yet, but Nevada. And what would Clark County do? Obviously, no tax
I don't
on
wanna
tips
mess it
seems
up.
like
I want
something
y'all
that
to see
people would
what's
be
going on.
in, if it's, wage workers in Las Vegas.
Everything is
Right
great.
now, sort of seeing
From the legend,
where,
it says
where that
no
goes
results.
when
If it's
closes.
got
Some
gray with the
people, some of
lines in it,
independent
it's
pollsters are saying Nevada
flip,
could go.
whatever that
Donald
means?
Trump's way, which would obviously be huge. And you know, these are some of the little places.
damn
Even
sure
New
don't
Hampshire,
need
while
no
it may
yellow.
not go his
That
way,
would
they've
be
been looking
other.
at, you know, kind of some of the. If he's
We
keeping
don't
it
need
close,
no yellow. We ain't gonna get
much
no
closer
yellow.
than Joe Biden was.
So I ain't worried
that's
about
sort of
that.
how much trouble could she have been in these places that usually go Democratic
I ain't
easily?
worried about that.
Yes, let's go ahead and take a look, you know, if we can, real quick, at the map for North Carolina in particular. That's what we're waiting on, how that's going to break down, because this has changed over the last hour. I'm gonna just zoom in
Elizabeth
a little
Warren.
bit on this. So you can see where the votes came
She
in.
won her Senate seat.
As you would expect, in Raleigh area coming in for Trump. You can see for Kamala Harris there. She's doing very well in these urban areas of
Lord,
North
they gotta
Carolina.
get
But when
rid
you
of
come
that
to the
lady.
more rural areas of the state, you can see where Donald Trump picked up the lead there. And with 24% of the
She's
vote
a
in,
fake Indian.
Donald Trump has jumped out to a bit of a lead.
What was
in
Trump
North
calling her?
Carolina. Same thing in Georgia. Donald
was
Trump has a
calling her
bit of a
something.
lead there as well, something we're watching very closely. We got 63% of
that
the
Georgia?
votes coming in. And again, this is kind of shaking out like you'd expect, a tightly huddled group of Democratic votes here around the metro Atlanta area. Same thing around Augusta, Georgia. You can also expect Clark County here, where Athens, the University of Georgia, is. But the rest of the state is very red. And what was needed to happen this time around, which didn't really happen in 2020, is these voters had to come out for Donald Trump, and it appears like that's happening. Now let's go back and take a look at Virginia, if we can take a look at that real quick.
Wow.
And again, you can see
Damn,
most
Virginia.
of rural Virginia
Virginia
is,
was blue for a
breaking
minute.
for Donald Trump. But when it comes to suburban Washington, D.C., Fairfax County, you see Kamala Harris has a lead there. Loudoun County, we do see that Donald Trump was able to cut into the lead that Democrats Joe Biden actually had in 2020, a much closer result there in Loudoun County. But again, this is an area populated by a lot of Washington bureaucrats, a lot of people that don't like what Donald Trump plans to do if he gets back in office. So the result there is somewhat expected.
But
So
Biden won in 2020 by 10%.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump is keeping pace with her neck and neck. So
And-
that is fascinating.
And even if Donald Trump isn't able to pull out a victory, in
Man,
Virginia,
everybody who done came
we'll
through,
look to see
everybody
what
who
that
done
tells us about
commented.
Pennsylvania. What will
Appreciate
that tell us
y'all,
about
man.
Michigan? What will that
Appreciate
tell us
y'all
about
checking this
Wisconsin
out.
and how
This
things are
little feed
breaking
I got
out
going on.
for each
Like I
candidate?
say, I got a
in
little
particular?
map. I'm trying
Let's
something
bring
new.
in some of our guests now standing
Got
by.
the map that's going to
with
show
some
you the
more analysis of
electoral
what we're
college
seeing.
votes,
Pleased
who's
to
winning,
have senior
what state,
fellow at the American
if they leading in the
Conservative
state.
Union, the host of CPAC Now, America Uncanceled, former White House
Light
strategic
blue
advisor Mercedes
means Kamala
Slaughter,
Harris is
and
leading.
also
Dark
GOP
blue means she's
strategist
winning.
Joe Pinion.
Light
All right,
red
guys, here we
means
are, historic
Donald Trump is
election.
leading.
Some polls have closed, others are still
Light
open.
red
What is
means
your sense you're
he's
feeling with
leading.
some of
Dark
the results
red
that we're
means
seeing,
he's
and
winning.
also some of the states we've already called?
Then you got
Mercedes,
other,
why
which
don't
would
you
be
kick things off for us?
yellow, dark yellow, and light
Yeah,
yellow.
well, I don't
Georgia,
expect to get
it
none
looks
of
that.
like President Trump will be winning in Georgia. And looking at all these
Hello.
numbers, what's been very impressive to watch is that President Trump is doing better with black voters. Kamala Harris is lagging behind in the areas that she needs to be.
We don't want her.
Doing better in that sort of, Fulton County,
Split
Cobb
votes.
County area.
What is the split
so I think
votes?
that the Harris folks are I think, very
she got
nervous
split
about
votes.
losing Georgia and
Trying to
North
decipher
Carolina
what that
as
mean
well.
down here at the bottom.
It's interesting with Virginia. We'll see what happens there, but I think Trump is doing better than expected in certain regions, but I don't think it's in the area of Virginia, but I don't necessarily think he will win Virginia. I think obviously then all eyes are going to shift towards the blue wall, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, or Michigan, seeing if President Trump can get a win there.
Yeah, there's also that key House race in Virginia we're watching very closely between Eugene Vindman, whose brother was obviously involved in the first impeachment of Donald Trump, and Derek Anderson, the Republican in that race, and that's still neck and neck. You have Vindman coming in with 52%, Derek Anderson with 48%. So this is one of those counties, one of those battleground districts we're going to watch very closely. Joe, what has caught your eye so far here at 8:53 p.m. Eastern Time on election night?
Look, I think all eyes are on Virginia. It does appear right now cautiously optimistic that that red wall in the South where President
Kamala
Trump
got
has
Rhode
held,
Island, Delaware, and
much
Maryland.
of the exaggerations from the left about Kamala knocking on that door in North Carolina, in Georgia. I think it was quite telling. You didn't see her down in Georgia or North Carolina over the last 3 days because President Trump appears to have done what he needed to do there. And now all eyes shift north. And it appears, if you look at Virginia, even if he cannot win that state, as a canary in the coal mine, where you can now see that even in the beltway of the beltway, that people have not bought into the hype of President Trump being the true threat to our democracy. What does that mean for Michigan?
Yeah, because he was
What
already
does
the
that mean for
president.
Pennsylvania?
It's
What does
a
that mean for
whole nother
Wisconsin?
play. You
I
can't
think we're
run
getting
on
ready
us
to
with that.
find
You
out.
need
But
to
if
do
you're
something
President
totally
Trump right
different.
now, looking at these
And they
numbers,
tried
and
to run the
looking at
same
Virginia,
play
which
on people,
don't write
and
'em
people
off
was
yet,
not falling for
I
it.
think you're feeling
Especially
quite
after
good,
he
'cause
was
if he
already
pops the lock
president.
on Virginia,
You can't
we can
say
start
that.
probably popping champagne.
And
a
it's
whole
gonna
lot
happen,
earlier
and it's
than we
gonna
thought.
happen, and that's gonna
Well,
happen.
we'll keep the
Well,
champagne on
if that's
ice,
the case, he would have did it the
until we
first
get some
time, and it
results
didn't
from
happen.
Pennsylvania,
But
right?
So
he has multiple
y'all can
paths
forget
to
that.
270.
Because
and if he can
that
hold
didn't
what he
happen.
had in 2020 and add on Georgia and add on Pennsylvania, well, there you have it, where it seems like she has less paths to hit 270 there. You know, Kamala Harris obviously, too, has had
Right
issues
now, she
with
got
a lot
72,
of
he got
different blocks of
111.
voters, Black voters, Arab voters,
But
Jewish
as
voters,
you can
Latinos.
see on my
And
screen,
you have
it's
to wonder at
a
some
little
point,
lagged.
the strategy
It'll
of her
update
campaign, if they're going to
eventually,
look back and
because
say,
it
oh,
has
this
been
name calling to
updated if
Donald
you've been
Trump
watching
wasn't
this.
actually the way
Right
for
now
her
it
to
says
sway
101 and
people
71.
over to her side.
That's not correct.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that's really going to be the story of the night, which is I think that coalition that Kamala Harris should have kept intact, kind of the Black voter, Hispanic voter, women voter. At least for now, you're seeing the Black voter and the Hispanic voter not really going for Kamala Harris. You take a county like Baldwin County.
No shit.
In Georgia.
I've been saying
Trump
that
is
on my
up plus
podcast.
4 and back, and that's
Y'all
an area
been
where there's
watching
a lot
me.
of Black voters. It's about southeast of
Ain't nobody
Atlanta. Well,
don't nobody want
won
her.
Baldwin County. It was
And no, it's not
+1
because
in
she's a woman.
2020,
She got
and now
bad
Trump has
policies.
really done well
And
in
then
that area.
she gonna do the same
I also
thing that
wanna
Biden did.
really
We don't want
look at
that.
Arizona and Nevada,
Period.
where
It ain't-
President
it
Trump
ain't
has
nothing
done very well with early
not a
voting
secret.
and day of voting, especially in Arizona, Maricopa County.
Anybody
and
know who
Pima
watching,
County.
man? Tell me what you
Again,
think of these
are
comments.
areas with a lot of Hispanic voters, so it'll be interesting to
Make sure
see
y'all like the
if
video.
the Hispanic voters, more Hispanic
If you're on
voters
YouTube,
break
make sure
in favor
that you
of
subscribe
Donald
to the
Trump.
channel.
And of course, if he
If you're on
takes
X, make
Arizona
sure you
and
like it and
Nevada,
repost.
and he takes Georgia and North Carolina, then
If
he's
you're
just
on Rumble,
missing one of those.
I guess you can do the same
know,
thing as YouTube. Make sure
blue
you
wall states
subscribe
up
and like
there,
the
whether
video.
it's Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, or Michigan. So
Y'all don't
that's
like
where
me.
I think Donald
But-
Trump is in a much stronger position right now.
And Mark Halpern was reporting the other day that Wisconsin, she was struggling. You know, the WOW counties there, it's more rural, it's more white.
Yeah.
And, you know,
That's
we're
my own
looking at
family
Milwaukee
over there.
in certain areas there, maybe a little bit more
That's
urban,
black
that-
folks.
That she maybe wasn't doing as well as they had
That's
hoped.
black folks, y'all.
In Wisconsin, to your point.
Yeah, I'm calling
Chrissy,
y'all. I'm
so
about to call the
Michigan
roll.
could be in play for Donald
Let
Trump.
me get y'all
Wisconsin,
names up here.
Pennsylvania, it is, you know, obviously
call
we're
the
still,
roll.
you know, very early in all of this, but there is some trending that makes people feel, maybe that's why Donald Trump was so calm this morning and really relaxed.
Well,
He
and
ran
I
the
think
best
also to that-
campaign.
About to call the roll
Yes,
on
my,
y'all.
my sources inside
specifically to that point.
'Cause y'all don't
my
like
sources
me.
inside Mar-a-Lago right now are
'Cause I
telling
don't
me
vote
that
like
the vibes
you.
are good.
'Cause I
Everyone's
think for
very
myself.
positive and like the way things are kind of shaking
Call
out.
the roll.
Yeah, well.
I also got a picture.
What
Elon,
about the joy over on the Kamala's campaign? That's where we got to start.
The joy.
we don't have any. We don't have a joy meter to gauge that, but we'll try to check in on that. But you know, we're monitoring these election results, and you know, we saw in Virginia how Donald Trump was able to cut into the lead that Joe Biden had in 2020, not able to win counties like Loudoun County, Fairfax County, but closer than they were.
Okay, we
before.
got some people.
We'll
Y'all
also see if
secretly
that
watching
shakes
it.
out
I
in
see you, though.
Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan.
see you.
All that data is still coming in, and we're
Y'all
getting that.
funny
There's a
over
live
there.
look for you at the Trump campaign headquarters in West Palm Beach. Lots of red hats there.
You know what the trick is
we'll
on
check in
Facebook?
with Joe and
It's to
Mercedes.
scroll
throughout
by the
night.
video. You
Guys,
never
thanks for being
click
with
on
us.
it.
Great analysis. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
You never
Donald
click
Trump
on the
didn't get
video.
back,
That's just going to register you.
until
I can see
5:30
you.
a.m. this morning, landing in West
not
Palm
gonna say your
Beach,
name.
and then he went to vote. We
I
had it
see
during
you,
our
though.
broadcast earlier today.
Yes.
Both you and I took his comments, and he did seem somewhat relaxed.
Y'all
and
ought to
very
be
positive
ashamed
and
of
upbeat,
yourself.
but He was in three
Like
battleground
Greg
states
say,
yesterday,
shame.
four rallies just till the finish line.
Shame.
Energy like no one we've ever seen.
Shame.
Yeah, and you know the people in Michigan that waited for Donald
Shame.
Trump to get there was like 2:30 in the morning. By the time he finally wrapped up, they were very happy to see him. Okay, we're going to get out now to Jason Jones, who's joining us from the Ted Cruz campaign headquarters. Very important Senate race there in the Lone Star State. What can you tell us, Jason?
John Bianca, it's good to be with you. You just missed it. Everyone in the
I ain't
campaign
gonna
here
bust you out.
just yelled
Y'all on
out
here
as
talking
the
about y'all
latest numbers just
scared and
came in at
stuff.
50%.
I would not be afraid.
56% estimated numbers. Now
No matter who
Senator
wins the election, I would
Cruz
not be
ahead,
afraid. I would not
50.7
lose sleep.
against his competitor,
I would
Colin
not
Allred,
hurl insults.
47.4. But look, this has been a very contentious race. You know,
That
these
says that you
pollsters,
lost.
you know,
And-
I don't
and
know
that
about you
clearly
guys, I've
says who
never
you
been
voted
home,
for.
But you know, these pollsters have
I
been
would love
saying
my
for a
neighbor.
very long time that this race
Shame.
is very close. And I can tell you, watching and hearing the numbers, you can tell people are getting a little nervous, but this latest number just coming in really made everybody cheer up here. But that's the latest as of right now here on the ground, guys. So that sure changed the mood here. But we've still got a long way to go. You got to remember, this is a big state, 254 counties here in this state. So there's a lot of counting to be done here before the night's done. But I will say again and again here, there have been two major issues. One is we're hearing on the national stage, the abortion issue has been talked about tremendously from the congressman up against Ted Cruz, Colin Allred. And then from Ted Cruz's side, he's really been pounding away at this border issue that has really been impacting Texans. But it's still interesting to see just how close these numbers are as we've seen what's been happening through the country. Back to you.
Very big state, Texas. Lots of
Don't mess with it, I heard too.
You don't want to mess with it. That's right.
You damn sure don't want to mess
Jason
with
Jones,
Texas.
live for us at the
Are you
Ted Cruz
crazy?
campaign headquarters. Thank you.
You know, Texas has had such a struggle
We're
with
not playing with you.
immigration
Yeah.
and the border there. It's really amazing. Jason's been sort of ahead of it for
No, it ain't
years,
been that
covering
tough.
it for us, and now we know what it is. It's on top of voters' minds.
All right, it is 9 o'clock here on the East Coast, and we are in now our third hour of election
gonna get
coverage
kicked
here,
out of that group.
2025. Well, it's going to determine who is the president in 2025. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. It's 2024.
I knew what you meant. We're time travelers. there
Yes,
for a
but we
minute,
do
John.
have some more poll closures coming in at 9 o'clock. We have Colorado, Iowa,
It just
Kansas,
updated
Louisiana,
now. I don't
the
know
battleground state of Michigan, Minnesota,
what's
Nebraska,
going on,
New Mexico,
but,
New York, North Dakota, South
they got
Dakota,
Trump
Texas,
at
Wisconsin, and
178,
Wyoming, all closing at this
Kamala
hour.
Harris
In the
at
last hour, we
113.
had Pennsylvania, and we're still waiting for a lot of that data to come trickling in. Arizona also
see
just
if my
closed at the
map-
top of
my
the hour.
map
We'll
is
bring you
still
all
not
of these
updated.
results as the data comes in. We're getting it in real time, just like everybody else, and we're just trying to figure out what it all means at this point. We all have been able to call
I
a
think
few
they're gonna be
races,
slow about updating my
and,
map over here.
You know, we're kind of in the midpoint, I think. Maybe the beginning of the midpoint.
Well, wherever we are, we're glad you are with us. Hi, everybody. I'm Bianca Della Garza alongside John Bachman.
And
We
I'm your
are
host, Roddy
calling
Rod.
some races here. We're going to call Ohio right now. In fact, for Donald Trump with 52% there. Calling Ohio is one of the most recent races. We've also called Alabama, Florida, West Virginia, South Carolina, Kentucky, and Indiana, all for Donald Trump. So he is ticking up one by one. But you mentioned the polls are closing now in some parts of the West. And, you
And
know,
let's just take a look real quick. You know, we show Pennsylvania on the screen. Harris up 66% to 33%. You
See,
might notice those
it's
numbers
slow.
are
It just
round.
changed to
Only
120
15% of the
Trump,
vote in
99
Pennsylvania.
for Harris, but
And
it's
we're
really
all very interested in what's going to
178
happen in Pennsylvania. We're watching
Trump,
very closely.
113
but we've
for
been
Harris.
told and warned by election officials
New
there,
York
we got to be
was
patient.
called
They have a very
New
slow
York.
process for counting votes in
Gave,
Pennsylvania.
Kamala
It
Harris
might not be
28
tonight before we
electoral
find out
votes.
who wins there. We will be
Minnesota
watching very closely.
and the
though.
makeup of Pennsylvania,
Gave
you have the
her
collar counties
28.
outside
I mean,
of
10
Philadelphia,
votes.
Bucks County, and,
Colorado gave her 10
Chester,
electoral votes.
Yes.
Montgomery, and so some of the Philly suburbs there, you know, Scranton, Joe, obviously, and then you also have Allegheny.
I can't
and you
believe
have
Colorado
Pittsburgh.
went blue.
Donald Trump, you know, was in
After all that
Pittsburgh last night where
bullshit?
he announced he got Joe
Well, they
Rogan's
crazy.
endorsement. He had Megyn Kelly there on the
She
ground
won
with him.
Virginia?
He was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. a
Okay,
few weeks ago
Louisiana
in Latrobe.
went to
And,
Trump.
You know, so there's all these different demographics, and Allentown,
you say
which is
that,
also very
Yes.
heavily Hispanic, about 40%.
She won Virginia?
where
Okay,
Kamala
it
Harris
should
was
pop
the
up
other
on
day
my-
because she's struggling with Latino
North
voters.
Dakota,
So make up
Donald
Pennsylvania with
Trump.
19 electoral votes, the most electoral votes for any of the
South
battleground states.
Dakota,
Again, we're watching
Donald
that very
Trump.
closely for you right here.
Yeah. Ohio used to be a
Wyoming,
battleground state. Florida
Donald
used to be a
Trump.
battleground state, but those are now safely in the column for Republicans. All right,
That's
let's
what
get
we
out
get,
to Alana
178
Austin.
for Trump,
She is tracking the
113 for
developments
Harris.
around the country, and
And
she joins us
mine
live
is a
now
little
from
slow.
Washington, D.C. with this report. Hey, Alana.
But Sonny just updated us.
Hi, good evening, John.
Sonny
and
with the
Bianca,
update.
Good to
She
see
says
you. Now, we
she
are
won
looking
Virginia.
at some of the breaking news that is coming in. from
Y'all give
Jordan's
Sonny a round of
Green
applause.
Bay reported
Sonny is sticking with the
Pennsylvania.
coverage and keeping
As
me
of right
updated
now,
as
though,
well.
we are hearing that that is not credible,
We're
but
trying
it
to
has
keep y'all
disrupted
informed.
some of the operations in the Keystone State. Now, we also wanted to play sound
Thank
from
you,
former
Sonny.
President Donald Trump earlier today. He says that if the election results
That's
are
my
fair, he will
correspondent on the
accept
ground.
results.
So far, I think it's been fair. I think there's been a lot of court cases. Both sides are lawyered up. Thousands of lawyers are involved, thousands, can you imagine? And part of that is because we have too complicated a process.
Now, heading into Election Day, we heard from the RNC that they had these massive
really think Trump
investments, the top
he gonna blow her the
priority
fuck out, bro.
election
I don't want to call it too soon.
Hundreds of thousands
You're looking
of
at raw
recruits
alerts. Let me go to
as
raw
poll
alerts. Let me look at my
watchers,
feed as
poll
well.
observers,
I should have
and
already
also
been doing that.
volunteers and 500 lawyers per battleground state.
I'm trying not to have too
Now,
much
the
going on
RNC
over
again
here.
saying they believe
I
that
don't
this
mess
could
up
prevent
anything.
issues, trying to nip things in the bud as they arise. The co-chair of the RNC, Laura Trump, also saying, for example, they believe by having all of these strong investments in place, it will address problems quickly. She gave one example a couple of hours ago. Luzerne County, which is critical to the GOP, they were apparently
You said raw
running
news
low
alerts?
on their ballot papers, and she said that that allowed their team to be deployed and work with officials to ensure that they were able to restock. Now, there were also some glitches being reported out of the New
Okay,
York
I see
City
it.
area.
She
Taking
won
a look
Virginia.
at Queens, there were a handful of neighborhoods that saw hours-long
Gotcha.
lines amid technical difficulties and high turnout. The Board of the Elections,
I'ma keep
though,
this
said out of
page
an
up.
abundance of caution,
Excuse
they
me.
actually sent out
gonna be a
representatives
long
and
night.
technicians to all 290 polling sites. There were some voters who reported that there were ballots that were having to be run through the machines multiple times. But again, at this point in time, New York City officials say they believe every single vote will be counted. Now, Republican officials are urging folks around the country, if
You
they
need
are
270?
in a state
You
or
just
in a
need 100
precinct
more.
where they're still eligible to
Come on,
vote,
baby.
to wait in line
If he get-
and let the officials work
if he
through
get
any
Texas,
of
that's gonna
those
be 40.
interruptions that they may see or those long wait times. There are delays that could be coming out of the city of Milwaukee. As many as
You fuck around,
31,000
get
absentee
see, she
ballots
probably
had
gonna
to
get
be
California,
recounted.
so that's
There was
gonna
an
put her at
issue
about
where there was an unsecured and
54.
unsealed
She got 113
tabulator,
right now.
and so we were hearing from the
That's
officials,
gonna be
both the
167.
Democratic and GOP, that they
I don't
had
think
a chance to
after
review
that
this.
she shouldn't
They
win too
believe
many
it was
more.
a
She'd
human
probably
error,
get something
but
like
again, that
Oregon,
could
Washington.
delay things. Laura Trump saying that
It's-
this
yeah,
is
it's- it still might be a
unacceptable and
little
it
close.
undermines confidence in
See,
the
he got
system. She's
Nebraska,
reporting
Iowa.
that they
He's
have
leading
been
in
monitoring
Nebraska,
the situation, and that
Iowa.
Milwaukee has had
Didn't you say
slow
he
vote
got Ohio?
counting
He won
throughout the
Texas?
day.
Okay, it
We're
just ain't
also
popped up
tracking
then on my
those
screen.
threats to the
Okay, she
election
said he won
systems that are
Texas.
pouring
Tony
in.
say
I
he-
want to play
he won
sound
Texas.
from the Georgia
He's leading in
Secretary of
Virginia,
State,
North
Brad
Carolina,
Raffensperger,
Georgia.
regarding
Looked like
some
he
of those
probably gonna win
concerns.
Georgia.
believes
Did they say
all
he won
traces
Georgia
back to
already?
Russia. I'm not sure if we have time for that, but if not, I'll send it back to you guys.
Let me go to
Bianca
Raw
and John,
News.
good to see you.
Well, a lot is happening, Alana. We appreciate that update for us in Washington. Always great to see you. We're watching results. Polls just closed at 9 o'clock.
You ain't
Former
showed nothing
Pennsylvania
yet.
Senator and former presidential candidate Rick Santorum, I believe, is standing by for us right now in our newsroom in New York. Senator Santorum, welcome in.
I think
History,
Kelly has 55. On my screen it say
this
54.
election. How
Yeah,
are you
I added
reading
that.
some
I
of the
said
early results that we have seen?
I
We
gave her
called some races
54. She
Trump's
got
way and some
113
Kamala
now.
Harris's.
What's that,
Yeah,
167?
I mean, again,
So I
you
give
have
her
to look
that.
at.
She gonna win that.
You have a lot of
Arizona
races going on, but you
got
look at some states.
11.
Oh,
I think
Trump
he'll
did
win
better
that.
than he did, 4 years ago in.
Is Alaska
Virginia.
normally blue?
Well, they weren't really running a campaign in Virginia, so I'm not
Hawaii
sure
is
that
normally
really
blue as
matches
well,
with
right?
How those races are going to come down in the states where they actually ran. Both sides really hammered it out. So let's look at
Might
one
be
of the
close.
states, Georgia.
It just depends
In
on
Georgia right now,
with these
and
other
pretty
states
consistently,
like
what
Georgia,
you're
North
seeing is
Carolina,
Trump is
Virginia,
doing
Ohio,
not a lot
Iowa,
better,
Nebraska.
but
They
one or
come up
2
red.
points
It's gonna.
better
I think he
in
got it.
most of these counties that in Republican counties than he did. They have a couple
Okay,
of
you're not
exceptions
sure?
where he did a
Okay.
little better.
than that, 3 or 4%. Others where he maybe did, right about where he was before. But overall, he's running about a point or two better than he did before. And conversely, if
anybody watching, y'all want to come up,
about a point or two behind,
y'all want to talk about
where
it,
Joe Biden ran 2
type
years ago.
join
So
in the comment section. I can send you a link. I would put that on the bottom, but I don't
Trump
want
is
to.
doing 1% better.
I don't want to do too
And
much.
Kamala Harris is doing 1%
Matter of fact, I'm gonna
worse.
just try it.
That tells
Hopefully,
you
I
that
don't
it's a
lose nothing on
2%
my
race,
damn screen.
or 1.5% race, and you want to be Donald Trump. So you just have to keep
I'll do
watching.
that right
It's
there.
not some people were projecting
I'll
a
leave that
blowout.
up
It
for a
might be
minute.
because we still don't have a
Leave
lot
a
of
comment
results
or
from
join
some
me
counties,
live.
and they may not be.
Link
they
is
may
not
be
in the
different than what we've
comments.
seen
Let me
then, but
try
if you're
another
looking at
banner
what
I
we're
got.
seeing right now,
Let's
I
just
think
do
the
that
Trump
one.
folks are feeling good about Georgia right now.
Let's
North
run that
Carolina
one
is
right
still
there.
early, but again, what we're seeing there is the same thing, which is
Comment, join, and
Trump
I'll
is
send you a
doing,
link.
Just a little bit better than he
Wanna
did
come
before.
up and
And
talk
he doesn't
to
have
me?
to do any better than he did before because he won the time before. So
You wanna tell me?
the other state
voting for
is,
Trump?
is Pennsylvania.
Harris won New
which
York and
is
Colorado.
closed
Yeah, I
now for
just
about
saw
an
that.
hour.
And that's my question.
Which is
people look
crazy
at
that
that Yeah,
That
if
was-
people look
she
at
won
that state right
Colorado
now,
after all the
now
BS that's
I
been
don't know if you
going
can
on in
put it up, but,
Colorado. The
what you'll
immigrants.
see, it's
You would
pretty
think they
ugly.
would have went red. That just show you, man.
Pennsylvania, he's down by a lot.
Some
Why?
folks is
talk about it.
crazy.
Well,
Let's talk about it a second. 'Cause I can't-
Kinda
everybody's
kooky,
I
like
can't
Trump
put it up
says.
here.
Kooky.
I have Pennsylvania up here, the current map up on my
On the
computer.
map,
If we can punch that up here. And when you look at a county like Monroe County, and you see how that's looking right now, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit closer to that. Kamala
This
Harris
is-
has 62% of the vote, and Donald Trump has about 36% of the vote. Now that's
Okay,
about
so let me
3 points better for the Democrats than it was in 2020. So talk to us, and this is with only 32% of the vote in. So talk to us about what's really going on here in Monroe County.
Yeah, I would say those are pretty good numbers for Donald Trump. And why would I say that? Well, because if you look at the votes, about 32%. All of that data, there might be a little bit, but almost all of that data is mail-in vote. If in all of these counties, these blue counties you see, for example, go down to York County, which is where you see the P in Philadelphia on the map. It's just to the left of that. That's York County. If you see
There it is
the
right
one
there.
there you go, York County.
So scale.
So York County's 54% Kamala Harris.
Yep.
Donald Trump's going to win that county by 55 to 60%, maybe over 60%. So what you're seeing, again, 16% of the vote in, it's a more Republican county, as Monroe is a little 50-50, maybe a little lean Democrat. So what you're seeing is a bigger early vote, more Democrats, a bigger early vote percentage-wise in Monroe County, and it's coming in heavily for Kamala Harris, as you would expect, because the early vote in Pennsylvania came in twice as many Democrats as Republican voted early. And again, York County, Donald Trump's going to win York County, but the early vote, twice as many Democrats as Republicans voted early. So it just goes to show you that if you look at this map, you see some of these red counties, those are Republican counties, and that's the early vote. And even in the early vote, they won, even though it was more Democratic. So it's way too early. Pittsburgh, the same thing. Allegheny County, if you show that number, again, early vote. And that's why we just sort of have to wait until the early vote. Some counties you look that you don't see anything. They may be waiting to count their early votes. The counties don't have a uniform policy. They may wait to their. We don't encourage it in Pennsylvania. We actually encourage the counties to start counting right away, but they don't always.
Enlightening stuff. No, if you're looking at the Pennsylvania map, don't panic. According to Rick Santorum,
Trump won
for
Ohio.
example, York County, which we talked about, went for Donald Trump 61.
Let's go.
Almost 62% back in 2020. So we'll see how these things change as more of the numbers
Trump
come in for
won Ohio.
Pennsylvania. Mr. Pennsylvania, Senator
Ohio
Santorum,
is us.
Great to have you with us. Thanks so much.
Let's get it.
So thank you so much. No, we're watching it very closely. Of course, there are other precincts that we're also tracking in some of these other battleground states
You're
like
right.
Georgia. And right now, we're pleased
They
to
want
bring
that
in a member
marijuana.
of the House Oversight
Ain't that
Accountability
something, bro?
Committee, Missouri,
They
Representative
can get
Eric
black folks with the
Burlison, who's up
marijuana,
for re-election
and they gonna go
tonight.
for it.
So, talk to
You
us
seen
further
that one
about
video I
how
showed
you're
you where that
feeling.
black
We
chick
see
was
a
talking
lot of
about.
signs
That's
behind
why she
you,
voted for
and
marijuana and abortions.
your headquarters
I just
there
shook my
with
damn head. I said,
people
Lord
who
have
are,
mercy.
looking forward to cheering you tonight.
Well, it's good to be on, Bianca, and it's an exciting night here in Missouri. I know that this is Trump country. Folks behind me, this is Trump country, isn't it? So it's hard to hear, and I apologize, but yeah, this is this area. People are excited. We're excited to see the numbers coming in, and I think that
Very
during the
much.
night
That shit
we're
is
going to see
insane,
a
bro.
change in the White House, and we're going to see
That
an
nigga would
end
do
to this
anything for
nightmare
some weed. That's
that is
sad.
the Biden-Harris
Niggas would do anything for
administration.
weed
So we're excited
and
to
concerts
see an end
and
to the
ratchet shit.
nightmare.
Well, we're
Anything but what they
right
supposed to
now
do.
for Donald Trump at 51%.
It's really-
The
it's
majority
sad,
voted
bro.
Republicans are in every presidential election since 2000. The last Democrat was Bill Clinton in '96. So here you go again, going red. Kamala Harris.
I mean, some peanut butter
obviously,
Captain Crunch.
made her plea last night to voters, standing with Lady Gaga, standing with Oprah Winfrey, as a lot of folks in Missouri are probably wondering how they're going to pay for gas and groceries.
Yeah, I think that at the end of the day, the American people have lived through both administrations. They know what it's like to live under Donald Trump. And the American people felt better. They were able to, they had money at the end of the month. Today, they have more month at the end of their money. And so they're seeing these high gas prices. And I think that we're seeing this at the polls. Even in Missouri, a state that's not a swing state, we saw unprecedented lines in early voting. People would come out and wait for hours at our early voting centers.
Hey, crazy,
because
Sonny.
people
Crazy.
wanted to make sure. I spoke with so many people who said, I can't, I don't want to miss an opportunity just in case something might happen on Tuesday. I want to make sure that I lock in my vote beforehand. So
It is slicing my mouth up so good, Sonny.
Something that we
So
have
good.
not seen in a long time, and we're really excited for Trump presidency.
Congressman, quick question for you before we wrap it up here. Have you talked to some of your colleagues around the country? How are we feeling?
But the
about
trick
some of
is you
these
gotta
swing
wet the
district
cereal
races
just
in
a little bit.
California and New York. There's
You
been
gotta
some
know
talk
how
that
long to let it
Republicans
sit
might
so it don't
retain
get too
control of the
soft.
House. How are you feeling
It's
about
really
that?
a technique to this.
Yeah, I
Very
think
much
that one
so.
of the things that is going to be unique about this election is that Trump is actually outperforming a lot of the candidates across the country. In 2020, that was not necessarily the case. But we're seeing, I think this year, we're going to see Trump lead.
You remember
a lot
Mr.
of the
Food
members
used to
of
come on
Congress in
TV
their
in the
races, and
mornings
he's
on the
gonna
news.
outperform them.
He cooked
And
that food, he tasted.
If Congress
say,
is going to maintain control, it's
"Ooh,
going
it's
to
so
be because
good."
Donald Trump led the way, and he drug us, congressional members across the finish line.
All right, Congressman Burleson, great to have you with us. Missouri in the win column for Donald
Hurt
Trump.
me so
All the
good,
Electoral
baby.
College
Hurt
votes
me.
as well. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, sir. Enjoy the rest of your election night. Well, right now, a former White House congressional spokesperson joins us. He's now a Trump surrogate, Harrison Fields, out there with us. And Harrison, obviously, you were at the West Palm Beach party there, and it does feel like a festive party, although we are still waiting for some of the polls to close. It's still a little bit early, 10 p.m., more polls, 11 and even 12 a.m. We've got to wait for Hawaii and Alaska, and also we're watching Nevada. But tell us how you feel with what we are seeing so far in this historic election.
Well, Bianca, it's always great to speak with you, and it's so good to be back in my home state of Florida. Funny enough, I actually had my high school prom in this building over 10 years ago, so it's a bit of a homecoming for me. The vibes are really high here. Hundreds of people are here, a lot of MAGA hats, a lot of MAGA energy, and I'm talking to a lot of people that are digging through a lot of the data. Expect to see a call for Donald Trump in Georgia pretty soon. They feel very, very confident about the way things look in Georgia. North Carolina is also looking good. And you talked about it earlier with your previous guest. The early vote for the Republican Party has shattered so many records. I think they banked a lot of vote early. And then, of course, historically, Republicans show up on Election Day. So I think if you had to be in one of the camps, either here in West Palm Beach or Washington, D.C., I think a lot of people would rather be here in West Palm Beach on Election night because the vibes, to quote Kamala Harris, are way higher over here right now.
Well, it's hard to believe, your prom was 10 years ago. I know you just had a baby, and I know that cost of living is something that factors in so many people's lives. What do you think about Georgia? I just want to put up the numbers here. Obviously, black vote is a vote that Donald Trump, many people say that she was struggling. Even today, she called into Philadelphia suburbs and other suburbs. If we can put Georgia up. Donald Trump being there also in Valdosta after the hurricane, there were moments really that we could pinpoint in this election. I still remember the Chick-fil-A moment he had. Connecting with people, and a woman came up from one of the historically black colleges in Georgia, and she said, I don't believe what they're saying about you, Donald Trump. We had Fulton County, we had the mugshot, we had Fonnie Willis. Georgia's been a really historic and kind of insane storyline in this presidential race with Donald Trump, Harrison.
Yeah, I think what's going to come out is that 2020 was kind of a hiccup in the long run for the Republican Party in Georgia. I think the unification between Brian Kemp and Donald Trump is really going to play a role in this election. But again, you talked about the issues. When you look at exit poll after exit poll, and I know a lot of people say don't look at the exit polls too much, but the polling before the election today spoke about the issues. When you look at immigration and the economy, Donald Trump was running away on those two issues. No one can say honestly that the economy is better today, or that your family feels better off today economically than you did 4 years ago under Donald Trump. Just look at gas prices, just look at grocery prices, just look at rent. You talked about the black vote also. My sources are saying in the metro area around Atlanta, the black vote just did not turn out for Kamala Harris, especially black males. You're also seeing a shift for black men for Donald Trump. That's going to be devastating in Georgia. That's also going to be devastating in Pennsylvania and North Carolina. It's still very early to call anything, but I think the momentum right now is in Donald Trump's favor, and he's widening that coalition to include black men.
All right, Harrison Fields for us live in West Palm Beach, Florida. Thank you, Harrison.
And I've been saying that.
Harrison, we'll be checking back in. I know.
Been
Thank
saying
you.
that.
All right, so the
People
polls
think
are
I'm lying. They
officially
call
closed
me
in
crazy.
Wisconsin.
They
We're
say I'm
waiting
in the
for
cult.
that data to trickle in.
I've been told
There
that.
have been reports from our own Mark Halperin
Okay.
talking about the
Keep not
nervous,
listening to black men.
The nerves
Keep
of
listening to
Democrats
all
in
these
Wisconsin,
old school
and
people.
if the vote's going to show up
Keep
for
listening
Kamala
to
Harris.
them.
Let's check in now with Logan
Don't
Raddick.
listen
He's
to
live
what
in Jefferson
we're
County,
telling you.
Wisconsin, with the latest
Just
for
keep
us
believing
from
what
there.
you
Hey,
want to
Logan.
believe. That's what you do. And you're going to end up in a world of trouble when you do that. Because I done told you, not only is black men going over there, there are black women who are voting for Trump. Don't believe all the bull. A lot of black people are starting to vote for Republicans, okay?
Independent Joe Manchin, but this is a Senate race that is
A lot of them
going
won't
to be a
say it
close
either.
one, and it's definitely an important one for Republicans
Because
if
it's
they
still
wanna
taboo in
add
our
a potential
community
Senate
to be
majority
talking about
in the
you a
next
Republican.
Senate. Hufty going up against incumbent
Now,
Tammy
anybody who's on here
Baldwin.
who black,
Hufty
tell
actually
me
just
I'm
came out
wrong.
and talked
Tell
to
me I'm lying
supporters, and
about
he said
that.
he feels good.
Y'all know
wants
that one
supporters to
person who
have
was in
fun
your
tonight,
family
but
who was a
also
Republican,
said that
and he
there
said
could
it
be
or
the
talked
results
like
coming
it,
in
and he got
tomorrow.
shunned,
We might not
or he was
actually
made
know
fun
the
of.
winner tonight here in Wisconsin, but when
It's
you
still
look
like
at
that.
elections in the state of Wisconsin, in the last 24 years, 12 statewide races have come down to
On the TV screen,
30,000 votes
it
or
just
less for a
updated.
margin. So those are incredibly
Trump
close
got
races. This is a state that
195
Donald Trump won in
electoral votes.
2016. Joe Biden
Kamala
picked it up
Harris
in
still has
2020.
113.
And of course, 10 electoral votes up for grabs. That is going to be very, very important here in Wisconsin. Some good signs, though, for the Trump campaign if you think about turnout. Urban votes down during the early voting. Female votes down during early voting. Now, those two demographics have been predicted to be leaning Democrat. But also, when you look at the voting here in Wisconsin today, we were just in, as you mentioned, Jefferson County. That's a Republican plus 15 county. It was raining most of the day, John and Bianca, and people were coming in and out of the precinct we were at. But then, when it was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, towards the end of the workday, the line was out the door to the parking lot, and that continued for the next 2 hours or so that we were there. So that is another good sign for Republicans that they're getting this very high turnout in these rural counties and also these exurbs of a place like Madison where we are now. Now, I talked to some people who are with the Hufty campaign, and they say that they're hearing that across Wisconsin, that they're getting out the vote in these rural counties. So that is good news for Republicans, but we'll see what ends up happening in places like Madison. Very Democratic heavy stronghold here, Collegetown as well, Milwaukee, and some of those cities around Milwaukee like Kenosha and so forth. So a big race here in Wisconsin, obviously, because it's such a key battleground state, but we're keeping a close eye on this Senate race. Eric Hufty hoping to knock off incumbent Tammy Baldwin, the Democrat who's running for a third term in the Senate. Back to you.
Raddick, thank you. As Logan just mentioned in his excellent report there, that state has always been so close. 2020 Biden, 0.6. Donald Trump, 2016, 0.8%. It's actually kind of the birthplace of the progressive movement. So some say there's still a little bit of a streak there in Wisconsin. But we're watching all the wow
Also the
counties
birthplace
there
of
as
the
well.
Republican Party in
That's
Wisconsin.
right. So
very political state.
Interesting state.
All right, let's welcome in Stephanie Hamill now. She's a contributing writer at the Media Research Center, and Trey Traynor, who's a commissioner at the Federal Elections Commission. Great to have you both with us this evening.
Great to see you, John and Bianca.
All right, Stephanie, first to you. What's caught your eye? What are you looking at most closely this evening?
I mean, I've been actually looking a lot at the media coverage this evening, and there are a lot of nervous people out there. A lot of people are really concerned about where this is going. I mean, they were hoping that Kamala would win this in a landslide, and, that doesn't appear to be the case in all of these states.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you think about all the favorable media coverage. The Media Research Center has done their own analysis. I'm sure you've covered this. Overwhelmingly negative for Donald Trump, Trey, and overwhelmingly positive for Kamala Harris.
Well, the coverage has been that. For me, I've been monitoring very closely the legal situation. Having
Yeah, that's
over
because
20
it's
years
mainstream
experience doing
media.
Election law.
It's
I look at things
mainstream
like
media.
What's going on in Milwaukee, where Milwaukee was
You got
very
people
slow
like
counting
Joy
the vote
Reid,
earlier
Rachel
today,
Maddow. They don't know
and
they're
then the local
crying,
team up there found
calling
out
the
that
man
they were doing the
fascist
counting
and
in
a
an
Nazi.
insecure environment. So
I mean,
had to
they be on
restart their
TV
count
crying,
over. So
bro.
You have election officials in
Crying.
Milwaukee who aren't doing their job, and they need to do their job.
Calling
And
the
that
man
report that
all
you just
kind of
had from,
names.
What's going
Saying
on
all
up here in
kind of
Wisconsin is very
crazy stuff,
encouraging,
bro.
But again, you need to have fair administration.
Y'all
of
ain't
these
seen this?
elections. The other thing I've been monitoring closely is
Wait
the
a minute.
minority vote that
Let's
Donald
take a break
Trump
for a
appears to be
second.
getting in Georgia.
Let's take a break for a
he
second.
is way outperforming where he was with Latino men voting.
Let's take a break for a second. Let me show you something. Yeah, I ain't gonna be long. I'm gonna go right back to it. Listen to this from Joy Reid.
And we begin our final sprint, having arrived at that point in the election season where basically we on this side of the TV screen have said all we can. We've laid out the stakes in this crucial election, where one side stands for freedom while the other meets the textbook definition of fascism.
Bam. She's supposed to be reporting the news, and she calling one side textbook fascism. Who the hell does she think she is?
Namely, a far-right dictatorial regime like Hitler's Germany or Franco's Spain or Mussolini's Italy, but also
Look at this, man.
right-ruled South Africa before Mandela and the black majority took control, or Vladimir Putin's Russia, Viktor Orban's Hungary, or Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela today, that suppresses the rights of women and minorities, uses the military to execute the whims of a strongman dictator, and controls and suppresses the press, education, the arts, rewrites history to suit a favored and dominant racial class, and foments extravagant corruption in order to enrich the dictator and...
Like, they act like the whole government ain't corrupt. It's just Donald Trump. All these motherfuckers is corrupt, bro. All of them taking money from somewhere else. All of them. I'm not even favoring one side. All of them doing this shit.
his friends. We've warned you about Donald Trump's profound unfitness for office, from his theft of classified documents and attempted insurrection to his clear cognitive and physical decline.
Says the party that just got rid of a president who wanted to run again.
To what he plans to do if he returns to power, threatening to lock up or even execute his political opponents, increasing federal capital punishment and unleashing the police unrestrained, using the military to suppress protests, banning abortion nationwide by enforcing the Comstock Act, persecuting LGBTQ Americans, spiking prices and crashing the economy with across-the-board tariffs that amount to a giant Trump tax on everything you buy that's imported from overseas.
Crazy.
Firing tens of thousands of dedicated civil servants and putting people in charge of our government like Elon Musk, who has essentially purchased Trump for $75 million.
Now, how she know that? Can't she be sued for defamation? She just made that up. So when they scream that the Democrats are sold by what's that Jewish guy? I mean, they act like that's not even real then, but they can say this.
Peter Thiel, who already owns Trump's would-be woman-hating vice president, J.D. Vance. Tom Homan, who vows to deport whole families of immigrants that could include U.S. citizens. Stephen Miller, who seems to dream of the return of internment camps to U.S. soil.
Big bad
along
Stephen
with
Miller.
mass deportation to make America white again. RFK Jr., who Trump has vowed to put in charge of not just women's health, but all of our health. And to this weekend announce that the first order of business will be to end the fluoridation of our water supply, taking us back to an
What's wrong
era
with
when
that?
childhood cavities and oral disease were rampant. You know, I guess that's before he ends childhood vaccination to, quote, make America healthy again by allowing measles, mumps, and polio to make a comeback alongside the coronavirus.
What you mean? People got insurance and their teeth are still fucked up because they don't be covering everything. The insurance is fucked up anyway. You don't say nothing about that?
And hell, why not bring back the bubonic plague?
Lord have mercy. Look, you see what I'm saying? I mean, just a bunch of damn bullshit, man. Just a bunch of BS. That's all it is. Just a bunch of BS. Crazy. Mm-mm-mm. Oh my God. What did this just say? I'm reading the post right now. Oh, this is 3 hours ago. But it says Milwaukee, Wisconsin election officials announced that they are recounting 30,000 absentee ballots after discovering that the scanning machine door wasn't properly closed. My God. Get ready, get ready, get ready. When they see she gonna lose, everybody, oh, we gonna have to recount. We broke something. The machine shut down. Y'all, the machine shut down. Well, we got to recount the whole thing. Nope, we can't call it for Trump. Nope, we got to recount it. The door wasn't latched properly. Oh, we just recounted. It says Kamala won. There you go. Okay, we got it right. Um, that was for Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and that post was from 3 hours ago. Did they already call Wisconsin? Let me see. No, Wisconsin is still in the air. Well, it's going red for Trump as of right now, but hell, that's what I'm saying. They on that bull. They on that bull. Yeah, I'm muted. I had muted it. Yeah, I'm over here doing something. I didn't want to. Earlier, I was eating them cereal. I didn't want to have it coming on the mic. I'm over here clicking on stuff. I don't come through the mic. Somebody said Kamala is getting smoked like a swisher right now. The stickiest of the icky. Damn, I was finna go to something. What was I finna do? Trump won North Carolina. It just came in. Sonny got the news. Trump won North Carolina. Let's go.
You're going to learn today.
Let's go. Raw news alerts. They pretty accurate. I trust them. Yeah. They don't they kind of lean one way, but they don't be sugarcoating a lot of things. They tell it like it is. I trust them. I follow them too. Sure do. He has won North Carolina. See, it just came across the news. Oh, let me go back to my damn. You know what? That's what you mean. I ain't got it on my video. Let me go back to my video. I'm
The
sorry
results
about
that we're
that,
seeing
y'all.
coming in this evening.
I had it on my Twitter feed.
Media is saying?
The legacy media here.
Okay, that should be better.
Jim's
I'm sorry
laughing.
about that.
They're saying.
I apologize.
They're not prepared. Some of these results here, New York Times is, forecasting that there's some real momentum that even early indications from the Trump campaign, black voters, blocks of voters that she was struggling with, and now we're seeing some of these results in addition to the record early voting, Dick.
Well, let's set it in the context electorally. You need 270 to win. If Trump carries, as your projection shows, the Sun Belt swing states, Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, and North Carolina, those four. Then, if in addition to that, he picks up one of the three northern states, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, he wins the election. So you've already pretty well said that he's going to win the Sun Belt states. I think you've called all four of those states. And the issue now is Pennsylvania, where they initially opened the mail-in votes first that are Democrat, and we're down and we gradually have to come back, and we are. And Wisconsin, where where it just closed, and Michigan, where they just closed. So at the moment, keep your eye on, those Pennsylvania numbers reflect the early vote that's very Democrat. But we have to win one of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin in order to win the presidency. If we win all, if Harris loses all three of those, we win all three, that's the ballgame.
And what we're hearing from Wisconsin is it's looking positive for Donald Trump right now. And ultimately, when you look at his multiple paths to victory, Jim, it seems like there are more options, especially based on what Dick was just telling us, more options for Donald Trump, more paths to victory than Kamala Harris has at this stage of the game.
Yeah, no, as Dick just pointed out, she's got to win all three of those battleground states in the Midwest. She's got to win Pennsylvania. She's got to win Wisconsin. She's got to win. She's got to win the state of Michigan. If she doesn't win all three of those, it's over. But I think the real story here is tonight is Donald Trump has thoroughly changed the Republican Party and changed the electoral map. And the way he's doing it, by the way, is getting record percentages of black voters and record percentages of Hispanic voters.
We've been saying that, bro.
Florida is no
We've been
longer
saying
a
this.
battleground state.
Nobody wanted to listen.
But in Florida, he killed it tonight among Hispanic voters. He took a place like Miami-Dade County that he lost by 30 points to Hillary Clinton, and now he's winning it by 11 points, a 41-point shift. He's getting 15%, according to the exit polls, in Georgia among black voters. And if he can do that with Hispanic voters and black voters in Pennsylvania, he's going to carry, not just is Donald Trump going to win Pennsylvania, but Dave McCormick is probably going to also come across the finish line.
That would be huge. We've already seen, West Virginia went to Jim Justice, Joe Manchin, a Democrat. That's flipped. Also, Ohio has flipped in favor in that Senate race too. So
Bernie Moreno
winning that race over Sherrod Brown. So we're seeing this whole map kind of be remade right before our very eyes. Jim, great to see you. Dick Morris, great to see you as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so a lot of attention obviously being paid tonight too, Bianca, to Pennsylvania, and that data is still trickling in. The polls there closing at 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, and it may be a while, obviously, in that state, and it may be a while in Pennsylvania. And they also mentioned Wisconsin, and there might be some longer counting in Milwaukee. But let's look at Georgia right now. Obviously, Trump is ahead there. Georgia, a state that we are looking at the black vote outside of Atlanta. Didn't seem like it turned up as much for Kamala Harris, which is an indicator of, Donald Trump really being able to connect with everyday Americans. You heard Obama go out on the campaign trail telling black men to go out behind Kamala, and it wasn't really received well. Donald Trump, and you'd see the media going into these barber shops, and then she tried to do it, and it just never really rang sort of authentic. And clearly, now we're watching some of the results coming in. National correspondent Mike Carter is in a key state, obviously, of Pennsylvania. He's been tracking sentiment in Pittsburgh, near Butler. Mike, good to see you.
I think it's a lot of Harris supporters taking it in tonight. Harris took New Hampshire. Dang.
Just looking at the results as well.
That probably was expected, but hey, we got to do it. Hey, y'all, I'll be right back. My broadcast will end. I'm going to restart it back up. I'm sorry.
Kamala Harris with about 2 million votes in. That has now been cut down to a Harris lead of about 6%.
Although they said it was going to end.
Expected that. Early results, of course,
I don't know if I'm still here. Am I still here?
It's been lower than expected Democrat vote turnout. When it comes
if I'm still here, y'all let me know.
Dave McCormick is going to be here
Let me
tonight.
check it myself.
I
think I'm gone.
Dave McCormick came into the day down by anywhere from 2 to 3 points. Now, a lot of people expect that Donald Trump does end up having a good showing tonight here in Pennsylvania. He'd be enough to get Dave McCormick over the line, as you know. Senate seat coming
I don't know why I said it was going to end. I think I only get like 2 hours. But it just depends on what package I got. Maybe it just, I don't know.
Never-growing majority in the Senate this time around. When it comes to this Senate race here in Pennsylvania,
Maybe it's giving me an extra minute. So if it does cut off, I'm just going to restart it back up.
52% to 45%.
I'll just load it right back up. It shouldn't take me no more than 15 seconds. But if it doesn't, I'm just going to stick here. I'm going to stay with it. Everybody who came through, man, I appreciate y'all coming through. I appreciate y'all supporting me.
Those are majority Latino, majority Hispanic communities, and Donald Trump and his opponent in this race, Kamala Harris, are going to be very interested to see where those areas of the state are trending. 500,000 Latinos.
As always, if y'all watching my channel and you want to join, just type join in my comment section. I can send you a link. You can come on live and speak on what you think about what's going on tonight with the election.
Paul Rogers, the lead singer of Bad Company, which is Mike. That's who Mike Carter is competing with. You heard a lot of Bad Company all right now coming through. The music is cranking.
Mike Rogers is running for Senate, though.
Mike Rogers is running for Senate in Michigan. Paul Rogers is the lead singer of Bad Company, and Mike Carter is a reporter on the ground.
And Mike has got to preserve his voice because it might be a long night, but it's definitely an exciting one. We know that. So glad you're with us right now, everybody.
All right, let's welcome in now legal fellow at the Heritage Foundation and former member of the Federal Election Commission, Hans von Spakovsky, is with us. Hans, great to have you with us.
Well, thanks for having me.
All right, so tell us what you're looking at tonight. Where's your focus?
Well, I'll tell you something interesting that I don't think has been mentioned a lot. As you know, Texas, Florida, North Carolina have all been called for Trump. What's important about those states is not just that he won them, but, you know, he picked up more electoral college votes because, remember, after the census, the three big states, blue states for the Democrats, Illinois, New York, California, they each lost an electoral college vote each because so many people have moved out of those states. Texas picked up 2 new seats. Florida picked up an extra seat. North Carolina picked up an extra seat, which makes winning those states even more important in this election than it was 4 years ago. And so, you know, Harris went into this already short of electoral college votes in several blue states, which were solidly on her side.
You know, Hans, I'm glad you brought that up because it also brings us to a state that polls are closing at 10 p.m. Eastern, and that is the state of Nevada. It has also had a lot of people that have left California going to Nevada. You're looking at, you know, Clark County. There's 6 electoral votes there. Also Washoe, which is Reno. That, you know, obviously they have a Democratic machine there. Their ground game is solid in Nevada. But some, you know, Trafalgar and others saying that Nevada is a state that is in play for Donald Trump. Something it could go his way again. The polls have not closed there yet. But your feeling on that and the fact that we're even talking about Nevada being possibly going for Donald Trump now, this time around 2024.
Yeah, but remember, one of the problems in Nevada is that, you know, during the COVID pandemic, they put in an emergency rule of mailing an absentee ballot to every single registered voter.
On the map on TV that I'm watching, it's got Trump at 195.
The law.
Harris at
One of the
117.
problems with that is that their voter registration list is so bad, so filled with people who should no longer be on the list, fake addresses and so forth, that there's a real risk.
She did take.
Unfortunately,
See, it's still light blue over here, Colorado, but I think she took Colorado.
Very close election. So Nevada is one of the states I actually worry about.
Just a little bit behind this map
There's
on
no
the
reason
screen.
to, you know, believe that any voter fraud occurred in that, you know,
If y'all
instance
can
here.
watch it,
But the fact that, you know,
the
no tax
electoral
on tips,
votes may be on
policies
TV
that
on
help
your phone.
American workers, people there
I'm
who
slightly
are
behind.
working in, you know, Las Vegas, you know,
But it
the
is
fact that
updating,
there is some
just a
kind
little
of
slow
real policy where Kamala
about
Harris has
updating.
been talking about just joy and vibes, and tonight the joy and vibes seem to be over in states that you've talked about, like Florida and Texas, where people we are calling it for Donald Trump. Pennsylvania, obviously, still too early to call, but that will be one with 19 electoral votes. Both of them definitely desperately need it.
That is true. And, you know, keep an eye on the fact that, you know, what we're seeing all over the country actually shows the importance of the electoral college, because Trump is winning some of the less populated states, states in the Midwest, states in the South. Where is Harris winning? The big cities, the big urban areas, and that's why the Electoral College is so important, because
Y'all want me to put it on some MSNBC? Y'all know they over there crying.
Who our president was, and
I just don't know how she's going to make this up. It's not looking too
We
good.
live in a republic, so you don't have three.
Let me see what they're saying on MSNBC.
Situation where you have two lions.
It's not looking too good.
Voting on what's for dinner. Hans von Spakovsky, great.
Oh, Damien, he on live. He on YouTube Live.
Such a pleasure. Bringing in our next guest right now, author of The Greatest Speeches of Donald J. Trump, 45th
Brother
President of
Jones.
the United States of America, and he is a presidential historian, Reagan biographer, Craig Shirley, and I believe joining him also Jeffrey Lord, columnist at The American Spectator. Gentlemen, great to have you with us. Let's talk about, we are in the process of watching history unfold. Donald Trump, a candidate like none other. You said earlier today to me, Craig, that you see a little bit of similarities to 1980. Talk to us about that.
Well, thank you, Bianca, is that there is a bright red line between the two opposing camps. This isn't just a contest between Republicans and liberals, or Republicans and Democrats, or liberals and conservatives, but it is a contest.
They ain't even talking, boy. They ain't even talking over here. They just showing the map. They ain't even talking over there. They just showing the map. They don't want to talk. They don't want to talk on MSNBC, y'all. Beep, 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 beep. Look at that. They hurt, fool. The commentators done went home. Maybe they on like a little commercial break. I'm gonna see what's going on. But they hurt over there. They would have been, Kamala Harris looks like she's gonna take the victory. Yes, it's looking like she's gaining seats in the Senate, the House. She's winning states. They would have been all over this. I'm gonna give them some time. Let's see if somebody gonna talk. Lord have mercy. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. And he winning in the popular vote. She done so. Thank God we ain't gonna have to see her for a while. They not gonna run her ass no more. She gonna go right back to California with her BS. Okay, let's go back to what we was watching.
Not doing it for show. They're doing it because that's what they do every day. They get up, they work with their hands, they go to work, they feed their kids, the whole 9 yards. That is a substantial cultural shift here with the Democratic Party.
Ain't no doubt, though. She is going to gain some votes.
And
once California come in,
movie stars and all this kind of thing.
I'm going to say Oregon,
you can
Washington.
see tonight that this is having its predictable effect on this election.
I don't know
you've got
which way is like. I think Montana is usually red.
If you will, of
Idaho.
Areas,
I'm not sure.
You're out there, and
I'm gonna say red.
America,
Utah is probably red.
Here in Pennsylvania as well.
Arizona
the
is red.
State, the top tier on the left and right of the state, east and west of the state, they're all voting for Donald Trump. So this is a significant change. It really is a big deal.
One of your books, The Great Speeches of Donald J. Trump, Craig, we may hear one of them tonight. We're not sure. Earlier when he voted in West Palm Beach, he said, I haven't thought about what I would say tonight. Obviously, we're just riding it through here tonight. But Kamala Harris has been light on speeches and just speaking for 9 minutes, giving the same
I don't
speech
see no
last night,
spaces
her
either,
closing
Sonny.
arguments where Donald Trump,
I was looking at that earlier. I was like, bro, I was trying to just go to
Michigan,
some
but spent a lot of
spaces
time in
while I
Pennsylvania.
was taking my tests and shit, and
His
I'm like, bro,
communication style,
nothing's
you know,
popping up.
Unique. You know what he is. You know he's authentic. But Ronald Reagan, also an incredible
If Donald Trump
communicator,
would have
and
came on here
words
with a
that he
damn space,
said
they'd have flew it up there. It
in
might have
very
would have
sort of
crashed,
the,
but they would have got it up
the
there.
blue collar, the working the Reagan Republicans.
Yeah, that's right, exactly, Bianca. He was, of course, he was the great communicator. What Jeff had said, what Brother Lord had said, is exactly right. This is a process. The Republican Party is an evolving organism. It's
Brother
not
Lord.
static. It's dynamic. And it started in
sound like
1964 and with Barry Goldwater and evolved through Reagan and now to Donald Trump. But it's become less urban, more suburban, more rural, more blue collar, more populist. And the populism is very, very important. Populism is simply an aversion to big corporations and big government. And that's where the Republican Party
Karen
is
Hunter,
an
she
aversion
know it's over with.
to those two, because they inevitably
Y'all were
diminish
bumping them
personal freedom,
gums,
take
bumping
away,
them soup coolers.
take away personal liberties.
Yeah, Elon Musk, who bought Twitter and kind of revived free speech, is watching the results as we speak with Donald Trump in Mar-a-Lago. So that says a lot of it as well. Fascinating where we are. It is history in the making. So pleased you are both with us. Craig Shirley, Jeffrey Lord. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you both.
All right, let's check in now with former Lieutenant Governor of New York and Newsmax contributor Betsy McCoy. And Betsy, I wanted to talk to you about what's happening in New York. There are a couple key House races
Damien
there
ain't going live
that are
on
going to be key in determining who controls the balance of power in the U.S. House of Representatives, who has the Speaker's office. Give us your insight on how those New York congressional races may shake out.
Well, of course, they're critical for the Republicans holding the House, the races in New York and the races in California as well. And so far, most of the races in New York look good for Donald Trump. It's so key that he has a House and a Senate that can govern with him. I think it's quite clear now that we'll have a Senate majority in the Republicans' control. That's very important. But in addition, it looks as if it's very likely that the Republicans will increase their margin in the House by 2 or 3 seats at least.
Which is, astounding to think. A lot of people early on had written off the House because of the competitive nature of those races, thinking that the Republicans were going to lose control. Republicans are expected to gain back control, or to gain control of the U.S. Senate. They already have flip seats in Ohio, flip seats in West Virginia. So, Betsy, you can think about a scenario where Donald Trump is in the White House, you have Republicans controlling the House and the Senate.
A trifecta. Tonight may end in a trifecta. Of course, what our viewers really want to know is, what will they know at the end of the evening? We have some slow-poked states in the swing states: Pennsylvania, Michigan, Arizona, and especially Nevada, very slow-poked states. And so it is a question whether we will be able to call this race tonight.
But no matter what we do know is there has been sort of a remaking of the Republican Party. And even in New York, Madison Square Garden, packed.
Yes.
Donald Trump, Bronx rally, packed. Going into bodegas, packed. There is a sense there that people in New York are walking around with MAGA hats that they would not have done even 4 years ago, Betsy.
And let me point out that this is also a transformation of how New Yorkers are thinking. Think about it, Bianca. New Yorkers have the worst governed state in America, maybe second to California. New York is shrinking faster than any other state, losing population so quickly. People are literally voting with their feet to leave the state. And then just this week, the governor, Kathy Hochul, announced
That's
that
why
anyone
my
who
damn
votes
video
for
ain't
Republican
posting, bro.
is
I mean, it's posted, but it
anti-American.
ain't.
Can you imagine such
No,
a statement?
disgraceful.
They ain't
So
showing it.
She did not help Kamala
That's how they
Harris
get you.
or
I don't like
Democrats
that
in her
shit, bro.
state at all with that.
I have one other question, John, if you don't mind.
It should be
You know,
live,
I was
but they be-
covering you when I was a
They just show a
reporter in
link.
Albany,
They don't
and you
show
were
the
lieutenant
video.
governor with Pataki. And
They don't-
I
if they just
watched
show a
Hillary
link, people ain't
Clinton
gonna click
be
on it. They don't know what that
installed
is.
basically as the senator of New York. A lot of people feel like that was what the Democrat machine was doing with Kamala Harris. No primary
This could be
votes.
pissing
puts
me
her in.
off.
Tell us about that, as somebody who was
They
there
know
when
that
Hillary
shit,
Clinton
bro.
was having her listening tour.
I know people not gonna click on that, man.
Right. Well, this was even more
They just got a link up
brazen
there.
because Hillary Clinton did have to win a race once she was introduced to New York in this listening tour, even though she wasn't a New Yorker. Kamala Harris never won anything, and here she is nominated to be president of the United States. It really was an offense to rank-and-file Democrats. They're being told that they're voting to defend democracy, but in fact, they had democracy pulled right out from under their feet by their own party leaders.
Yeah.
Not one single press conference either, Kamala Harris.
She didn't
See,
do a
now we
press
got to this
conference.
stalemate.
She
Ain't-
dodged a lot of
ain't nothing
interviews.
coming
She
in.
never had a moment on the
Still say
campaign. She talked about
195
this
Trump,
earlier.
117
Bill Clinton, I feel your pain,
Harris.
kind of moment. Never really broke through. She also had a lot of favorable media coverage. And the fact that this race and Donald Trump is even in a position that he's in right now, considering all those things, I think tells us a lot about Kamala Harris and her lack of ability as a candidate, Betsy.
She is a very poor candidate, and you've heard more and more Democratic
sure is.
professional politicians and strategists admit that over the last 3 days.
Damn
that
sure
Kamala
is.
Harris just did not measure up. It was a big mistake to slide her into Joe Biden's position instead of having a very rapid mini primary of sorts.
Yeah, and interesting too, you see a guy like Barack Obama out there on the campaign trail in the last days pushing hard for Kamala Harris, pushing the very fine people hoax. He knows that's not true. He pushed it anyway. But he waited a long time before he actually got on board with Kamala Harris. He wanted to have an open primary process, and they were all stuck with her. And, you know, the limitations of being able to mount a presidential campaign in this short amount of time with a candidate who's never proven herself, these are the results you get.
It was highly cynical. Let's face it. It was very, very cynical. A slap in the face to Americans, Democrats and Republicans alike, who believe in a fair system.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, protecting democracy here. Well, today Americans are at the ballot box. There are still polls that are open, and 10 p.m., 11 p.m., 12 a.m. Former Lieutenant Governor of New York, Betsy McCaughey, now our morning anchor here on N2. We'll be waking up with you as well tomorrow. Betsy, thanks for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
I saw a video today. Someone took a super clip where it was all the clips of the pundits talking about, oh, they're going to destroy democracy, but they replaced the word democracy with bureaucracy. And it makes a lot more sense when you think of it in those terms. All right.
I always love those clips, and you're like, whoever made that, doing a great job. All right, folks, we are in it now, and we are so glad you are with us. We're going to take a very quick break. We're back with much more here on Election Night on N2.
More polls closing at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Montana, Nevada, Utah. We'll bring you those results as soon as we have them. A live look for you here at the Trump Victory Party in West Palm Beach, Florida. Very creative hat.
Oh.
By that
Somebody put Ukraine and they checked Kamala Harris like she took it, projected winner of Ukraine, Kamala Harris. They funny, man. People be crazy on the internet, man. They come up with all kind of stuff. That's a good one. That is a good one.
January 15th, 1929 was a chilly day in Atlanta, Georgia, when a family gathered to welcome into this world a new life, and with it, a new hope for America. Throughout his 39 years, he instilled in Americans a new spirit of justice and freedom, based on equality instead of status, and character instead of race. He waged a nonviolent war on racial segregation, with appearances that radiated with an energy that transcended all races, all faiths, and people of all ages, with words that still resonate today.
I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as
the people will get to the promised land.
He spoke to us of his dreams and his beliefs that
And
justice
they killed
too
him.
long delayed is justice denied. At 9:47 a.m. on the 20th of February, 1962, Lieutenant Colonel John Glenn Jr. of New Concord, Ohio, found himself sitting on top of an Atlas 6 rocket filled with 600,000 pounds of fuel. At liftoff, 360,000 pounds of thrust hurled the massive rocket and its occupant into space and America's history books. John Glenn became the fourth human being to enter space and the first
Let me check my
American
Facebook and
to
see who
orbit
all
the
crying
Earth.
over there.
For his remarkable heroism, President Kennedy
Oh, they
awarded
drunk.
Colonel Glenn
They all
NASA's
drinking.
Distinguished Service Medal.
As our knowledge of this universe in which we live increases, may God grant us the wisdom and guidance to use it wisely. Thank you, Colonel.
Glenn went on to become the United States Senator from Ohio, and in 1984 ran for the Democratic presidential nomination, but lost to Walter Mondale.
Vote for America, historic night. Polls are closing 10 o'clock.
Oh, you got
here
all
on the
kind of
East
folks
Coast.
made.
And look here,
They
it
start
is
acting like people
Montana,
don't know what
it
they
is
talking
Nevada
about.
and Utah.
That's what
16
niggas do when they be
electoral votes as
losing.
Polls are closing this very minute. We are so glad you're with us here on N2. Hi, everybody. I'm Bianca De La Garza.
And I'm John Bachman. As you heard Bianca say, those polls are closing in Montana, Nevada,
cutting
Utah,
people off for
Arizona.
a
They don't
vote.
do
We
daylight
get
savings
cheated
time
on and
there.
stay
So
with-
it's 9
Exactly.
in the
Cutting
in
off
Arizona.
family members because of a
Yes, all
vote,
right.
then
Let's
y'all
get out
be
to
with
John
folks
Huddy
that
now,
cheating
senior
on y'all,
correspondent,
staying with them.
who's checking in from West Palm Beach, Florida, at the watch party for the Trump campaign. John, how's it looking out there?
Well, a big cheer went up as Trump was, said to be the winner of Montana, as the state was called for Trump. Also, a big cheer went up when Florida was called for Trump as well. And one of the things we talked about earlier, Miami-Dade County, Trump winning Miami-Dade County, which is traditionally voted blue. So he essentially shattered.
Man, y'all want to join me? Let me know what you think.
County. We started seeing that.
Type join in the comment section. I'll get you up there.
Governor Ron DeSantis had a great deal of support.
What y'all think gonna happen?
In South Florida,
I think Trump got it.
particularly in the Miami area. So
I think Trump got it.
back then that possibly.
So how y'all
Trump
think these
was gonna
next 4
take,
years gonna
The
go?
Hispanic Latino vote in Miami-Dade County. We saw that play out. And also, I want to talk about the down ballot measures because the last time I was on with you guys, John, you asked me about amendments 3
can't afford it, Denali.
and
What is she
4.
talking about?
Well, Florida voters rejected
Don't you know how much that
Amendment
is?
3
It's not a
had
cheap
to do
car.
with the legalization of marijuana for recreational use. That did not pass muster with Florida voters. Amendment 4 would have created an amendment, a constitutional amendment protecting abortion rights here in Florida. That failed as well. Both of those amendments.
Well, when people be losing, bro, they start acting like they don't care about the election no more. Ain't that funny?
Both of those amendments, he was against both of them. Although President Trump was in support of Amendment 3, so there was the contrast between former President Trump and Governor DeSantis about Amendment 3. But as I said, both of those down ballot amendments failed this evening. This is Trump is at some point expected to come here. Whether that happens tonight really depends. And another cheer going up, it looks like having to do with the numbers coming out of Virginia. But the campaign, even former President Trump earlier today, said that he was going to more than likely be coming to the convention center. But it really depends on how this goes. It could be a very late evening. This could stretch into the wee hours of the morning. We'll just have to see. But what we do know, John and Bianca, as I mentioned earlier, former President Trump is at Mar-a-Lago. He is there with family. He is there with close friends, his senior advisors, campaign staff.
She unfriended me, bro.
Watching the election results.
I'm not even gonna say who
in there,
this
and then they'll
is.
make that
This is
determination
crazy.
when and really at what time
Ultimately
he would come to the convention center. But I can tell
Unfriended
you
me.
this, the mood here, very energetic, very optimistic, very nervous. I keep
That's
hearing that
sad,
a lot,
bro.
John and Bianca. People say, man,
All over
I'm nervous.
election.
I think we've all been. Look,
That shit
this
crazy,
has been
bro.
an extraordinary campaign and road to get to this point, this historic evening, and that is certainly being felt here in the room right now, you guys. Back to you.
John Huddy for us live in
It's
West
really
Palm Beach.
sad.
John, thank you
This
for
person,
that.
too.
The updates on those amendments.
They take
do
this
have to
shit
get
way too
60%
serious.
of the vote to pass, and they're not doing that.
Unfriended
And the
nigga?
Amendment 3, the issue to legalize
And I know
recreational
you.
marijuana.
In Florida.
They spent a ton of money trying to get that to pass.
Oh, well,
and there was
Trump
a big problem with the law.
2024.
Governor
Fuck
DeSantis
you.
called it out for this. Even though it legalizes recreational
my
marijuana,
ass.
you were not allowed to grow it at your house. It was a gift to a lot of these big marijuana companies, according to Ron DeSantis, and his influence probably being
Damn.
felt there. All right, let's do an update now
That's kinda
on the
shocking.
situation in Pennsylvania. We got some new data
That
coming
one right
in.
there.
And as you can see here on the screen,
Not only
it
am
is
I
so
upset, but I'm
close. It's
kinda
gone back
pissed
and
off about
forth.
that
Kamala
one. That
Harris
one.
is leading by just 0.5 of a
That's
percentage
fucked up.
point right now. So you can see how close it is in Pennsylvania.
That's
and when we
fucked
had
up.
Senator Santorum on before, as I call him, Mr. Pennsylvania, he
you
was
do call him
indicating
that,
that
yes.
some of these counties, with the election results coming in, we're going to go ahead and turn red, and that's what it's looking like. Just Allegheny County in the Pittsburgh area right now is trending towards Kamala Harris with 66% of the vote in. But all the surrounding counties around Pittsburgh
Look at that.
are shaded red right now for Donald Trump. And this is not good news for the Harris campaign right now. Obviously, they're still in the lead. We got just 43% of the votes being counted. But what's happening right now is it's trending in the direction that Donald Trump wants to see. A lot of the early votes were not counted until the polls closed at 8 o'clock. Those results are coming in. But what we saw is Republicans outperform what they've done in the past with the early voting, with the mail-in voting. And traditionally, they have shown up on Election Day as well. And the question was the early voting going to cannibalize the day of voting? And we don't see any evidence of that right now.
And also in Allegheny County, and this is the suburbs of Pittsburgh, it's important to note in the past, this was Clinton plus 17, Biden plus 20. It speaks to perhaps her lack of strength as a candidate.
It is.
Switched out. And also the black vote. And Donald Trump was in Pittsburgh last night, steel workers. He was at the Steelers game a few weeks ago, and you just saw sort of this wide swath of voters, even announcing he had he had Rogan's endorsement. He did that in Pittsburgh. He brought Megyn Kelly out. She spoke about the mothers and the trans issues. So Donald Trump has really been able to effectively articulate a message.
These niggas
that's
really
resonating with
mad,
people from a
fool,
lot of
like-
different backgrounds. And we knew that the metro areas there in Pittsburgh could be key for deciding this race. Again, Pennsylvania, you just showed it, John.
Yep.
Pretty exciting if you are a Donald Trump.
I'ma sleep
opinion
good
looking at those
tonight.
Results.
And we heard the cheers in the background when John Huddy
I'ma
was
sleep
reporting
good.
live from
No
West Palm
wonder
Beach. So
why
check
my
in with James
Facebook was
Rosen,
like
our
that.
Chief White House correspondent, who's at
I
the
was
Harris
wondering,
party,
fool.
to see if we've had any
I was
similar
wondering.
eruptions of cheers. James, what can you tell us?
It's all right.
It's been a while
I'm gonna go
since we
harder
heard
now.
some cheering from the several thousand Harris
Especially
supporters
on Facebook.
attending here tonight at Howard
You ain't
University,
mad
the Vice
yet.
President's alma mater.
You got 4
awaiting their
years to
favorite
be hot.
candidate, who's still going to be some time before she arrives here. The music has been put on hold from the giant
let me
sound
make a little
systems,
comment.
and instead there's a
put this
giant
out here in the
TV
universe.
screen showing what we will delicately call another network. And every time that network shows results favorable to former President Trump, it is deathly quiet amongst the several thousand folks in attendance here tonight. And when that screen shows results favorable to the vice president, then we usually hear a roar. But just recently, they showed Michigan, which of course is not got a majority of the votes counted even, and where the vice president is believed to enjoy a slight lead. And until just a few moments ago, when that Michigan screen flashed, anytime Michigan showed up, even with a slight lead, no matter how small the number of ballots counted in the Great Lakes state, the crowd was cheering. But this time, when they brought up Michigan, it barely got a response from this crowd. So when you ask me what is the vibe here, vibes being so important to the Harris for President campaign since the beginning in July, I would say it's starting to turn a bit, what's the word I'm looking for? A bit wary, a bit apprehensive. That's really the word I'm looking for. And we know that President Biden is also watching the return.
What y'all think about this black vote?
The forgotten man in tonight's balloting.
There's been a lot of
He's
black
placed
people that's
calls to a
voting for
number
Trump.
of the
That's why
winners
he getting
tonight
all
so
these
far,
votes.
various mayors and governors elect. And the
Uh-oh,
it's
Trump
interesting
at
also to see what the
205.
vice president spent her time doing today.
I think he gonna lock
She was
this
at the
shit
vice
up.
president's residence, the U.S. Naval Observatory grounds in Northwest Washington. She spent part of the morning calling into 4 different radio programs, one in Pittsburgh,
he gonna
one in
lock this shit
Philadelphia,
up.
one in Atlanta, and then one in Raleigh, North Carolina. Each of them strategic choices showing where the
You know what? I'm
campaign
gonna listen
fought
to my guy.
potentially in these late
Let me see
hours,
what's
these
going
last
on
hours of
others.
voting.
But I want
They
to show
thought
y'all
they
this
could
guy,
still
man.
mobilize voters.
That's one of
And
my
then the
best.
vice president
One
took
of the
an
best
unannounced
people on
trip over to the
YouTube, man. I
DNC
fuck with him.
headquarters in Washington. She was greeted by the DNC chair, Jamie Harrison, and she arrived with deep thanks and boxes of Doritos for the volunteers there. She
Boxes of Doritos. What the fuck is that gonna do? I don't hear nothing. Damn, that's crazy. She gave these fools Doritos. You know what? My bad.
spent a bit of time, the vice president did here to her alma mater at Howard University. John and Bianca.
Just real quickly, James, you say there's people gathering there, but no one's behind you. Are they corralled off over? Is there like an open bar or something? It just seems so lackluster there. And
Do we have an open bar?
I know said network, they're cheering, so maybe it's TV monitors, or they put you in the cheap seats.
Well, through research and deep investigative reporting, I can confirm that there is no open bar present here tonight. But I'm going to ask my cameraman, Mike Palmer, to widen out and pan out a little bit so we can give you a better view of the here, and maybe push in if you could, Mike.
Boy, they
so that you can
manipulating
see
the
the
fuck out
several
that one.
thousand supporters. The vice president, when she speaks, is
They ain't
going to be
even called
standing at a
that shit.
lectern protected by bulletproof glass, aided by teleprompters.
What is
in
these
front of
maps, bro?
Frederick Douglass Memorial Hall, a place of great symbolism here.
Some of them already got him winning.
Perhaps
These
across the
interactive
country.
maps. Look at this. Like, ain't nobody called this yet. I guess they guessing. I don't know, but then look at this one. This MSNBC. Look at their map. They got her winning. They got her winning. She hasn't won, but they got her winning. Then I'm looking at TV. They got 205 has 117. I gotta find one that's unbiased, bro. I'm gonna just use this one. This one look like it's more accurate. Looking to bypass the system private window picker. What? What is going on? Why it ain't popping up? Hold on, this ain't right either. Lord, I guess I can't share that one. They probably don't want you using their stuff. Crazy, crazy stuff going on, y'all.
Saying, and the liberal, the fascists, the Nazis, how legacy media really hasn't, been attacking Donald Trump. And Kamala Harris, as a candidate, was able to use that to her advantage, but still maybe not to enough of an advantage for the American people who are seeing through legacy media's lies.
I think so, and in large part because Donald Trump's not a Nazi or a fascist because he was already president and didn't operate
Exactly.
that way. Not to
I
mention
done
the
said
whole
that
thing
way
is
too
an
many
absolute
times.
lie. If Donald Trump really was a Nazi and they really believe that, then why would Joe
I don't
Biden
know how
put
many
on a
times I
MAGA
done said
hat
that
and a
crap.
rally and joke around? Why would Senate candidates on the Democrat side be using Donald Trump in their ads to try and win an election? Why would they sit there in the room while Donald Trump was giving jokes at the Al Smith dinner if he was so bad? They know that's not true.
I can't get some of this stuff to.
Product. And right now it looks
I'm
as though
going on with
even
these
though the time
interactive
frame was
maps.
condensed to a few months, even though they had billions of
Must have some
dollars
type of
and
rights.
90% positive news coverage on Kamala Harris, billions of dollars of free positive news coverage, it doesn't look like it's really made the impact they thought it would. We got a long way to go still tonight, a lot of numbers, a lot of folks still out there voting. We have to make sure that this thing comes home for Donald Trump.
Yes.
But again, I've seen things now I have not seen in the past in my 25 years in Republican politics.
Yeah. Incredible. That's right. History in the making. We the people. People are still voting.
Okay, maybe
There's
I can
actually
try
polls
this
that
one.
are still.
Is this one working? Okay, that one look like that. That's better. Look, she got 226. Build your projection. I don't need to do a projection. Tell me what it is. I don't want to do that. Build your own. Yeah, this got some bullshit going on. Some of you got to pay for.
Register, thought of as the gold standard. She came out with an outlier poll, Rick, and that had Kamala Harris ahead, but it clearly didn't pan out very well, did it?
Well, I want to share a personal story, John and Bianca. Back in 2016, I was working at the Republican headquarters in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania on election night. And at some point during the night, I started paying attention to the New York Times. They have a graph on their website. I don't know if you can see this, but it's a needle, and it goes either towards the blue for the Democrat or towards the red for the Republicans. And it was incredibly accurate. And I was there until, I think, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning when they finally called Pennsylvania for Donald Trump back in 2016. Well, I've been watching that graph tonight. And I'm reporting on another outlet, the New York Times, but they've been very accurate on these things. And they now have a 78% chance of victory for Donald Trump. 78% chance, according to the New York Times right now. They have him winning 295 electoral votes to Harris's 243. They have Trump winning the popular vote by 0.6%, which would be...
It says California is reportedly preparing to flee country pending election results. I'm very scared. Man, they need to cut that out, man.
All the nastiness. If he can actually,
if he was going to do something to you, he would have did it the first time.
Harris in the electoral
Why are they doing that?
Like he might. The New York Times reporting that Donald Trump has a 78% chance of victory right now.
People are texting me that as well about the needle in the New York Times, and I'm sure it kind of
Combine
kills
that
them
with
a little to have to say that.
Combine that with the betting markets, which of course are not scientific.
Yes, go ahead.
The way people are feeling about it, you go on Polymarket right now, and it's pinned Donald Trump all the way to the top, Kamala Harris all the way at the bottom. No one's buying Harris, everyone's buying Trump. And what can we figure? This is what people feel, not necessarily based on the results, but the results are probably leading people to feel this way clearly. And stuff like Rick was talking about, the needle pinned in favor of Republicans.
And Rick, I want to ask you too, because Kamala Harris has trotted out every celebrity under the sun that she could to try and get her across the finish line. Oprah, you will never vote again. We heard last night in the closing. And you're in the West Coast and the Southern California. The celebrity Holly Weird. This has been sort of a crutch for her as a candidate.
Well, it could have backfired on her. Do we really care
electoral
who
votes
Harrison
for Trump?
Ford is voting
This is
for,
outdated.
or George Clooney says we should
Me,
vote
I'm
for,
seeing
or who Lady
205
Gaga
for
is
Trump.
supporting? I mean, it's really no surprise that she would come out in favor of Kamala Harris. But we saw Hillary Clinton make that same mistake back in 2016.
I mean,
she had a big rally in
she's gonna get
Philadelphia
54
the night
votes from
before the
California.
election,
We know
and
that.
she brought out all the stars, and she lost Pennsylvania, and she lost the election. And a lot of people are making that comparison, saying that Kamala Harris spent too much time courting the celebrities and not enough time answering tough questions or connecting with real voters. And when Donald Trump kept asking that question, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? The answer for most people is absolutely not. And that could be a key reason why more people are picking Donald Trump in the voting booths than they are Kamala Harris.
Yeah, and think about the celebrities, too, that were endorsing the different candidates and what they actually do. I mean, Cardi B is going to sing some nasty lyrics to you. Oprah Winfrey is going to talk down to you and tell you how great her life is. But Elon Musk is going to build rockets. He's going to provide a car that you actually need, Starlink, and provide internet for people who don't have it otherwise.
And bought Twitter.
Right, you think about Robert
gonna
Kennedy
talk down
Jr.
to
and how
you.
he wants to
They
make
scare
America
you.
healthy again. These
They
are
ain't gonna tell you
tangible
nothing good.
things that people actually want, as opposed to the celebrities on the Democratic side.
I agree.
Sometimes sing you songs. Sometimes they don't perform, but they're there
Can we
nonetheless.
throw De Niro
And I will
in?
also
Can we
can
throw De Niro
I
in
take a
too?
moment here to just to pat myself on the back when Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris? I went on Newsmax and said it wouldn't matter. They actually wrote it up in the New York Times.
Yes,
and
that's right.
it's on the. I'm on the record, and it doesn't matter. These celebrities don't do anything for the American public that have seen their grocery bills go up.
Exactly.
And what can you do?
And
for
you
me?
got the
Celebrities
Democrats
nothing.
insulting people.
basically.
Bringing out
That's what-
celebrities.
And look at the interview with
Having
Joe Rogan.
concerts.
Trump sat there for 3 hours in Joe Rogan's studio. Kamala Harris wouldn't do the interview with Joe Rogan unless Joe Rogan came to her and she wanted to limit it to an hour, which probably meant 28 minutes. But Donald Trump sat there for 3 hours, and he convinced Joe Rogan that he was real, he was authentic, he was funny, and he had a plan. He can answer any question. He's done this before. He's run successful businesses, and he's proven that he knows how to fix stuff and make things work. And he actually had a plan, and he was willing to sit there and take all those tough questions, and he convinced Joe Rogan to vote for him. And I think he convinced a lot of Americans that, hey, this guy is the answer. He's not a problem like Kamala Harris would be. This guy is the answer, and now the New York
Exactly.
Times
Kamala
says
wouldn't
Donald
even
Trump
answer
has
no
an 80%
questions,
chance
y'all.
of winning this election, which
Watch
is
that
remarkable.
needle. Watch that needle, Rick.
Yeah, and you know, we heard a lot of reports.
wouldn't
of
answer
course,
no questions
anecdotal
if people
about
was
dudes
making
showing up
excuses
at the
for it,
polling
bro.
locations today in different states. And,
You know what they
you gotta
doing now?
think
Now
Joe
they
Rogan
ass
is
somewhere
audience
sleep.
that, you know,
They don't even
conversation
want to
with
watch.
Elon Musk, the conversation
They
with
trying to
JD
go to
Vance
sleep
to
before they get the bad
obviously
news
a big
and
impact.
get a
It's
good
not just
night's
one
rest.
event with
They
Donald
gonna be
Trump.
tossing and
It was
turning
kind of
tonight.
rolled out
And I
over
think men want to
these last
protect
few
their
days.
families and their wives. And, you know, when you economically are getting hammered by an administration, that points to who's going to help me and my family.
Yeah.
They want
Well,
to be protectors.
Apparently, the message got through. The message about the economy, the message about the illegal migrants who are criminals, who are targeting American citizens. The message got through.
Right. All right. We've still got a long way to go. We don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves.
No,
but
of
it is, of course, as Rick indicated, we're attributing
Cautious
this to the
optimism.
New York Times.
Yeah.
They are predicting 80% for Donald Trump. All right. Let's get out to the Vice President of the National Border Patrol Council, Art Del Cueto, and talk about one of the big issues that voters have been using to motivate them this time when they head to the polls. Art, great to have you with us.
Yes, sir. I'm with you guys. I'm pretty excited. I think we're going to get a win today, and it's not a win for Donald Trump. People need to understand it's a win for America. That's what it comes down to. Because look, the chaos that you've seen at the border. If we continue with 4 more years of this, it's just not going to be able to be withheld. It's been a mess. We've had individuals from 168 different countries come through, and the only people that have been winning is the drug cartels and the smugglers. It needs to end.
Anybody, Art, but when I've talked to Border Patrol agents over the last few years, the morale has been so low. You think about what happened, especially with the horseback Border Patrol officers, the way they were accused of whipping those Haitian migrants, never got an appropriate apology from the Biden administration or the Department of Homeland Security and Alejandro Mayorkas. But just talk to us, Art, about what it would mean for all the Border Patrol officers who've basically been forced to kind of sit on their hands for the last 4 years. What will it mean to them to wake up tomorrow knowing that there will be a new sheriff in town in Washington, D.C.?
Look, I've been around for quite some time. I saw the morale boost back in 2016, but it's nothing compared to the morale that's going to be boosted after this election if, we pull it through and Donald Trump is the new president of this country. Because, like I said, look,
Boy, if I
agents are
see one more
frustrated. All they're
fucking Miss
asking
Netta
for is
on
to
my
do their
damn-
jobs. That's all they've been asking
swear to
for.
God, bro.
They realize processing is part of the job. However, tracking down smugglers and tracking down individuals that are coming into the country illegally is also part of their job, and they have been handcuffed on that side because of it. You're going to see the biggest morale boost that you have ever seen within the agency ever if Donald Trump can be the next president of the United States again.
Art, the last time I saw you in person, we were down at the border in Arizona with JD Vance in Montezuma Pass, and drones flying above our head from the other side in Mexico. But there's the human aspect of this that, the Democrats that purport to be, all for women, they're trying to drive women voters to Kamala. There's 320,000 missing children. There are women being raped as they come across with cartel members. There are children being sold into slave labor, sex trade. And then there are innocent women and children, Jocelyn Nungaray, Rachel Moore, and Laken Riley, we go on and go on. I think that really hit home in the past few weeks where Donald Trump was able to humanize and tell that message through some really powerful folks, angel moms who came across. Can you just talk to us about the hypocrisy of the left and that issue right there? Because that hurts my heart as a mother.
No, absolutely. It's horrific what this administration has done. They've tried to flip the script and try to control the narrative, but people need to understand the crisis that we're seeing at the border, this administration has caused it. When you're seeing the children that are coming across, that they're missing children, that all falls on this administration because they empowered the smugglers, they empowered the drug traffickers, and they continue. Look, the drug traffickers don't care. They use the individuals that are coming across, they use them almost like human cattle. And this administration, with the lack of consequences towards the crime, have empowered them even more so. And we've all seen it. Look, President Trump had the plan to fix it, and the numbers were low. Day one of this administration taking over, everything boosted up. And the only individual that can fix it is Donald Trump. That's why I continue to say it's not just a win for Donald Trump, it's a win for America. And it's a win for the rest of the world because they're the victims.
And if he was to win, not